Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue sur la faille de l'invocateur. Paris, l'heure est venue. The time has come.
Now you might think that this is a story about East versus West. It isn't. This is a story about belief. About how two teams crashed a party no one expected them to attend.
Ils n'étaient pas sur la liste et pourtant les voilà en finale de l'Esports World Cup. And on one side is the legendary return of a Korean powerhouse. And on the other, a villain story nobody saw coming except their fans.
For one of them, all the talk about Cinderella stories and miracle runs comes to an end. One will undoubtedly leave here remembered by the world, but the other gets to cement their legacy as the Esports World Cup League of Legends winners.
Mesdames et messieurs, vous le savez, il faut choisir. Now you have to pick one.
Who's taking it, Paris? Will it be D plus Kia?
Un peu de sérieux. Mesdames et messieurs, qui est là pour KC?
Listen, of course there's favoritism here, but this crowd has been phenomenal all week here. We need to get on one page, one time, before we bring out the teams.
Mesdames et messieurs, pour vos deux finalistes, s'il vous plaît, tous ensemble, faites
du bruit! The time has come. Let's welcome our first team onto the stage. It's D plus Kia! Shiwu, Lucid, Showmaker, Smash, Korea. 4 players chasing the first international title of their careers, alongside a world title winner searching for the first EWC title of his own. Together, they have brought D+ back to an international final against the Blue Wall, desperate to block their victory. But Smash said himself, they specialize in killing the home team.
La banlieue influence Paname et Paname influence le monde. Carmine un shonen, ça se vit et ça s'incarne. Nous avons le boss de la Kim Kanacorp avec Yahoo, son loup. Pas de 50-50 quand Yak est sur le serveur avec un support Stokos, Bouzio et le prodige de Prodigy, Caliste. Alongside their coaches, in the quarterfinals, KC did the unlikely. In semis, they achieved the impossible. But now in the grand finals, will they rise above all the lows of League of Legends?
And can D plus Kia remind the world what this organization has always stood for? The grand final of League of Legends at the Esports World Cup starts now! Faites du bruit!
Thank you so much, Lou and Ian, for that incredible introduction. Two teams we were not expecting to be introducing here today. I'm Atlas. I am joined by Jack Spectra and Wolf to get into this grand final of EWC 2026.
It is an incredible story to have these two underdogs face off in the finals. but there is a very clear crowd favorite here.
Oh, yeah.
And we have had so many Korean teams make it deep into tournament runs like this, like T1, who are so famed, but even they, for the first time in years, were not the favorites with this crowd. D+ have a lot of new supporters here, but they are going to have to win this best of 5 here against the home team in Paris in order to lift this trophy.
I do think while KC has the home crowd on their side, for me, they're probably still the underdogs going into this matchup. I think DK showed such great tenacity against Gen G, and while KC took down T1, I think T1, for me, they made more blunders than I'm used to. Well, I feel like DK took down Gen G while Gen G was still playing incredibly clean. So for me, that victory felt more meaningful.
And it's kind of crazy because both of these teams, very similar as far as the upsets are concerned. AGAL, absolutely no slouches, especially when it comes to EWC. KC were able to wipe them out of the tournament, and then being able to stand up against T1 in that 3-game banger series that they were able to claim at the very end. But BLG, they were on a golden road until like a few weeks ago. The team that really did look like they were going to shatter all expectations, and then taking down Gen G, who are the defending title holders. It's absolutely ridiculous that both of these teams are here.
It's been insane. There's one player that I'm really excited for. I actually spoke to the president of the Lucid fan club, and he elected me as the vice president because I'm just the biggest Lucid fan on this cast. Been watching him in LCK Challengers, and just a huge fan of this guy.
I am excited for him as well. I mean, obviously, Lucid has had some ups and downs in his career, right? I think that there's no denying that. I think, for me, I favor D+ to win this finals. I will predict them to do it. But players like Lucid and Shu have been inconsistent in the past, and a bad series on the day in a best of 5 could be the difference maker here between these two squads. One thing I want to talk about for both these rosters is they both had an incredibly difficult run to get here, and not only the caliber of opponent they had, but they both played incredibly tough games that looked completely lost. Looked like there was no way back in, and they were able to fight their way through. That winning game for KC against T1, the stop of the comeback in game 1 against Gen G for D+. Games that test your mental, games that push you to the brink, they were able to survive and fight their way through, and that is what makes these miraculous runs even cooler.
And it also makes this final potentially extremely volatile, because how much is emotionally left in the tank for both of these teams to be able to make that clutch move yet again? Because we've said it already, there are 2 series that they had to work tooth and nail in order to get these victories, at least moving towards this point. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, into the draft for game number 1 of this best of 5. And I agree with Mr. Greeley. I think just 5 games. Just give me 5 games. That's why he's the head of all esports. You know, he has the good takes. And honestly, yeah, 5 games, that's all I really need. Because we want to see the absolute mentalness that can come out of a meta like this, with mages running around the bottom lane. We've got Silas's down there as well. What happens in a game 5 with both of these teams in it would be absolutely crazy. But we are going to see the Poppy, the Olaf, and the Nocturne banned away here by KC, who are on our blue side to start this one off. And then the Orianna, Jace, and the Vi taken away here by D+ here. They have second pick and red side. Very interesting to start it off this way.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Okay, they just take away the Camille. I haven't been loving EU teams on the Camille support. I feel like they haven't been able to find the early lead that we've been looking for. And we also saw Keria playing the Camille earlier today, the Silas Camille. And it just, if you don't get the level 1, the pick is not very good. So that's the worry I have for KC. And I'm thinking now, if Lucid wants to go for his Lee Sin, that means a lot of early game pressure in the hands of DK.
No, they can save the support for 3 and leave that Leona pick here and grab something like Lee said. It's definitely going to be a jungle pick here. The Victor will be a flex, but likely played in the bottom lane into this Camille lane based on what we've seen so far in this tournament. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Lee Sin here. They could play around something like a Jar, but with this Victor already here, doesn't look like a dive style comp is what they're really looking for.
Yeah, and I think that they could also just grab the Shen, and that's what they're looking at. This has been the pick into the Camille, and we know that Showmaker is an absolutely incredible Victor player, so even if they don't go for the Ziggs, Camille, or something like that towards the bottom side, you can always very easily pivot This is one of Yahoo's favorites, though, hovering the Anivia for the moment. And we'll see whether they do decide to lock in the bottom lane as well.
Yeah, it's going to look like Yike is going to pick up the Lee Sin. He fumbled a lot of plays yesterday on it, but he was able to find some crucial smites. He's really, really good at being at the right place at the right time in this tournament, but I haven't seen the Lee Sin caliber of someone like Lucid, like Owner, and it looks like 6 for Kalisz, so it's going to be the 6 Camille, presumably up into the Victor, Shen, and bot lane for DK.
And Wolf, do you reckon this is Cassiopeia time? Are we just going to pick both of them?
I think it's likely here. You have such a stable lane if you do. Instead, looking potentially for this Skarner pick here as a jungle follow-up for Lucid, and leaving this Victor still flexible.
The really tanky front line in the Skarner and the Shen is hard for Casey to get through if you don't get that early lead going. And we'll see if maybe Casey can round out their draft with more of a DPS top or a DPS mid.
I think a lot of safe blind picks here will likely be taken away. Might see Gnar to go by the wayside. They'll take away the Anivia first here from Yahoo. You mentioned already he loves to play this pick. He's played it already this tournament to great success. Yes.
Yeah, I think the Gnar for Kana would be huge if he could get it. And it would also be nice for DK because both teams would want more damage. DK because they're the ones with the front line, while KC are the ones playing into the front line, needing to have more DPS to be actually taking down those tanks.
That's not to mention, yeah, and both Kana and Shiu, pretty incredible Gnar players, and we've seen Gnar on the ban list so incredibly often.
The Jax ban, this is kind of crazy, but they could put the Camille top.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. They could flex it and actually go Leona, Camille. Imagine how much lockdown they have if they have both Leona and Camille. The Camille goes top side, and your immobile Victor is just going to have a really hard time surviving against that much pressure. There's no Vayne ban here either just yet, so that Gnar is still a strong possibility.
One of the problems is there is nothing that's solid about DK's draft just yet. Even a Skarner is a flex to the support role if you'd like to. So even though, yeah, they're threatening the Camille top lane, the amount of pivot that you can just immediately do for D+ is incredibly easy. So we'll see whether they do actually lock that in towards the top side, because the final answer, it remains with D+.
I completely agree with you, Max, because DK can just put the Shen top.
Yes.
If KC want to go for that. And we'll see what DK decides to pick on 4 here to break one of these 3 flexes. And it looks like it's going to be the Victor mid with Smash looking in ADC, or he could just be baiting, of course.
But the Kai'Sa mid.
The Kai'Sa mid? No, I mean, Kai'Sa, I like Kai'Sa a lot here. I like Kai'Sa a lot into the mages because you have so much mobility with the ultimate and you scale so well. And if you go AP route, then you can also play more of a poking style as you gradually scale into the game. And Smash on Kai'Sa is just, like, when I think of Smash, his debut on T1, absolutely popping off on the Kai'Sa. He doesn't have the greatest dive comp, so it can be difficult with the range on KC's side, but if there's a man to pilot it, it's him.
I think you've got to really have a ton of control to make this Kai'Sa work. I'm not a big fan of it myself. I think it's very risky. I think in a meta like this, the more win cons you have, the better. And if things go awry, it can be a huge problem. Here's a blind Vayne. Is definitely not what I expected.
Oh, they're slamming it. Okay, I always just don't trust KC hovering Vayne at any stage, but they're going to immediately lock that one in. They were like, you know what? We don't have enough AD carries. Let's just pick all of them.
This would be such a cool pivot, actually, if they were going to go for that Corki and change things up completely and try to dominate the bottom lane. Instead, it's still going to be that Ziggs Camille, and we are going to see it looks like a Galio here for Yahoo to help protect this AD carry in the Vayne.
Yeah, the Galio makes a lot of sense.
Camille Galio, a classic.
Camille Galio, very little front line on KC. And we'll have to see what DK can answer into this Vayne. So that was what the Jax ban was for. Malphite is another really good pick into this Vayne top. I'm really curious to see what she will have.
I don't think she was pulling out Tristana on this one.
Like, isn't Tristana Vayne in the top lane? That would be absolutely
I mean, he might. I mean, we do have, in this case now, a very strong scaling mid laner for D+. He is going to lock it.
The thing that's ridiculous about this as well is you have so much more wave clear than Vayne, so you will always have control of the minion wave there on the top side of the map. I just think it's crazy. This harkens back to, like, what, 2012?
Well, this also means that 2 of the best answering picks to Gnar, which is one of Kana's best picks right now, and why he's even here in the first place, are removed from Fearless here in Game 1. But Tristana was always, in my mind, the trump card you have as D+ if you have counterpick, if that Gnar is coming through, if the Vayne is bad. Only Shiu is really playing Tristana top right now, but he's going to match the Vayne now, not to answer the Gnar. And this composition just had added a lot more scaling elements to it here for D+. So the Kai'Sa pick I feel much better about because it also synergizes with that big burst to get the reset on the Tristana jump to then carry those fights.
Not to mention, Buster Shot is so good at just making Camille's life as difficult as possible. She wants to be delivering the Galio to a target that cannot escape. If the Tristana is ever there before the play, Buster Shot means that the Hextech ultimatum does basically nothing.
For sure. I think top lane is going to be the lane that we're looking at. I think both top laners will go exhaust, and they will just... You, as Vayne, the thing is, you don't have any option to not fight. If the enemy wants to fight you, you don't have any long-range wave clear. You can't just, like, receive the wave. You need to actually engage with the Tristana, and that's why Shiwu went for this counter pick, because you can just jump in, keep fighting her. So I think both top laners will be pathing up towards top, and whoever kind of wins that top matchup will decide the fate of the game.
It's going to mean that you get control of the grubs. Tristana gets grubs, for example. That could be a disaster for KC, you know, and the split push power is insane. So a very volatile top matchup. That is, I think, I agree with you, going to be the focal point in this game, which is quite the opposite of what we normally have.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, loading onto the Rift for game number 1 of the grand final of EWC 2026. And it all coming down to Shiyu and Kana there on the top side of the map is kind of poetic as well. Kana having that unbelievable performance on the Gnar in their most recent series, and Shiyu having one heck of an up and down tournament thus far. We are going to learn a lot about this series and how it's going to go, I think, in this first game, with eyes glued to the top lane. And already, weird stuff's happening.
Yeah, both supports know what lane to play for, as Busio started the sweeper, predicting Career to come ward here, and that allows Kana to be playing in these bushes, but neither supports are going to base just yet.
All right, so we've got Ziggs versus Kai'Sa hanging out in the bottom lane. We'll see how Smash is going to do dodging these bouncing bombs. All right, we've just got 1v1s across the map here. It's kind of like they were competing for top lane, and they were like, you know what? We're all just playing top lane. I'm not gonna swap with you, okay?
Busio trying to keep Career at bay. Career was considering to flash for the taunt, but he did not commit.
Oh, that is the Mayor of Paris, by the way, in the crowd here for the EWC League of Legends Grand Final.
That's crazy. It's also funny that Busio and Career are both playing top lane champions while wanting to just stay in top lane. And neither of them has base just yet. While Career looks to finish his, Busio wants to try to roam mid lane here, maybe force a summoner from Showmaker, but he should be fine just hovering bot side.
Okay, everything just cool, calm, and collected now. We've got some normalcy coming back to the Rift as these supports do make their way back down towards the bottom side of the map. Busio, I mean, he needs to start listening to me, but decides instead, going to go for a bit of a hookshot flash here. The Showmaker gives him the good old thumbs up, says, get out of here, buddy.
That's a big summoner committed. Obviously, Camille's quite mobile and can engage from a long way away in the bottom side, but Showmaker's just going to lose a little bit of health, but doesn't even flash, doesn't even flinch here in the middle lane, knowing that he's not really under threat of being killed by this Galio setup. So it feels like a slight edge gain here from D+, but it relieves the pressure for Yehu for just a moment.
Yeah, Yehu needs to fix this mid wave now, but he should be able to do it with the chunk on Showmaker. But not the start that Busio was looking for on this Camille. At least both him and Career are pretty much similar XP, so he didn't lose. I mean, he was able to steal some of the XP on mid lane while Career was bot.
Nice little satchel there onto Smash. The wall dive not necessarily working here for Busio. Still able to dodge their way out of it, and DK will be just picking up the wave. Showmaker now just sticking around here in this mid lane, still very even alongside Yehu. The Galio can have a rougher time in the first few levels up against the Victor, but he has been coping quite nicely as Lucid's going to come on over here and make this a little bit frustrating. There is a gravity well going down. Busio in position, but Career making his way up. Remember, no flash on this Camille. Yike making his way over, and Lucid looking a little worse for Webb. Picks the gap between the players. Not able to land that Sonic Wave. That means that everything is just going to calm down.
But Yike got the top crab while Lucid was ganking mid lane, and now he can get the bot crab as well. So it's a double crab advantage for Yike. And a pretty good start for him on the Lee Sin.
Hasn't been punished yet. You know, so much of the aggression here from KC is starting to get small advantages, starting to stack up. And Showmaker still holds his flash. Smash, by the way, needs some help here.
Going through the minefield, gets lit on fire here by Busio, and smashes barrier. I don't think it's going to be enough. He has to flash as well to get out of the way. Career getting the damage down, but Busio just walks this one off. And Smash, not a whole lot left in the tank.
Lucid is coming down here. I don't think he'll be able to get punished.
Oh, Kalist's going to have to flash to get out of the way, so that is at least something here for D+, but they are on the ropes.
It's so much aggression from KC in this early game. They are not pumping the brakes in this one. Obviously, we had the 2v2 top side into the late stay there for Busio in mid. This is a huge deny here on the back initially. And then they get the aggression aggression on the Showmaker. Don't get his flash, but put pressure on, get that lead there, then go straight to the bottom lane and threaten Smash. They don't get any kills, but they are certainly putting the pressure on.
Yeah, Kalist getting that cancel on Smash means that he can reclaim the CS advantage that Smash had built up. The first few levels of this matchup, Kai'Sa's quite a bit stronger due to her auto attacks while dealing damage, and Six doesn't do anything until he gets a few levels. So that was why Smash had that little bit of a CS lead, but now being completely equalized is really nice for Kalist in this early game.
Yeah, it looks like the pause is on the D+ side of things. KC just being patient here, waiting to make sure that everything is sorted out effectively. And look, trying to figure out exactly who it is as well. Not clear. Not entirely sure. Just it's Shiv because they're on the screen. I'm trying to crane my neck around and it's just like right here in front of me, making me feel a little bit silly, but that's absolutely fine. Shiv, let's hope that everything is going to be sorted out. He's in a difficult matchup there up against the Vayne, and actually currently has the only gold lead of the team against Canna 4 now. I've really enjoyed the pressure, though, that KC have put on. And honestly, this is good for us. Yeah. It gives us a little bit of a moment because there has, like, the tempo of this game has been kind of extraordinary out of KC.
I think we're seeing a very similar game from KC from how they've been playing in their last few games. They just keep looking for plays over and over again. And that's what improved so much for them between MSI and EWC. At MSI, they were much more reserved. It felt like they only went for very few plays, and if those plays didn't work out, the game kind of looked over for them. But in this tournament, they just keep pushing no matter what, and that's what's given them the edge against so many of these teams.
Yeah, I actually find it kind of crazy, because I was talking to Dagda before the KC match that I cast in MSI during the play-ins, and he was like, oh, they're just basically mini-Gen G, you know, they're going to be playing slowly, it's going to be cool, calm, and collected. This is a team that really does like to get their ducks in a row before they get things done, and that hasn't been the EWC experience for this squad.
I just find that, as we're going to repause here for just a moment, make sure things are good, I find it to be a very risky play style in a best of 5, especially in the finals too, because if you are of that mindset of we're going to constantly push, the moment it stops working, the moment you lose that momentum, it could actually be quite mentally draining to play on the edge of your seat constantly and be the aggressor when G+ can otherwise just be defensive. Not to say that it's not a valid strategy. In fact, I think it's the way League of Legends in most cases should be played, is always trying to push every single advantage. If it does stop working or you start to lose confidence, it can really hurt.
I think this, for me, is what KC is the best at. Like, when we looked at KC in the LEC, it always felt like mechanically they had the best players in their role, but they were missing that something to really beat G2 and be a complete team. And I feel like the fact that they've doubled down on the fact that we are going to try to outplay you in every single skirmish, and we're going to keep going for that. Oh my god, the KC
shoeies? Oh no, we're not doing a shoey just yet. Sorry, that's my Australianism coming out. Maybe if they do win, we'll get a shoey out of those guys. We'll have to get the cameras back on them. We will see. The crowd.
Such a high-profile game. We have the mayor of Paris. You know, there's having the crowd be against you, but there's having the city be against you.
Yeah, we needed to fly the mayor of Seoul in or something.
No, I guess the only thing that would have been crazier than the mayor of Paris showing up to this match is if he opened his shirt up and had a D+ jersey on underneath.
I'm sorry, like I think it was his son sitting next to him or something like that, and he's like, I'm sorry, son, and just like rips open his shirt. It's been me all along. I started following in 2020. I just love Showmaker.
You know, people think about Kana as a T1 guy a lot, but they don't remember the D+ times as well.
Neither do I.
A time to forget.
My mind.
As Kana is completely equal in this matchup up against the Tristana. Really nice early game from him. I have to feel that some of that probably was from Busio trying to match all of Career's pressure. He even gets...
This is a huge push. I mean, he's got a nice farm here. He obviously is going to get a plate.
Yeah.
And you start to get these small advantages in a volatile matchup like this, especially when neither the top laner has teleport until that unlocks later on with Roll Quest. It can be a disaster. He was able to do this, by the way, without a buy. And this is the first back for both of these top laners, so a good start here.
And now it gets a lot easier for Kana as he picks up the cloth armor, gets the HP from the Phage. As Kalista has no flash here.
All right, bit of a return gang from Lucid, looking to make his way in. Picks up on where that satchel was taking him, but it's like Kalista will be able to make his way out regardless. KC not wasting any time, just sticking on this dragon. And does have a lot of health. It's a mountain, of course, but still looks like Yike will be able to get on over here and take this one down. Busio just protecting.
And Yehu has prio in mid, and he has his ultimate, so there's just no way to contest here for D+ at all whatsoever. So they tried to look for Kalist, but even flashless, he's able to walk it off. So huge win here in the small exchange for KC.
Yeah, and part of that as well was the fact that Smash was still level 5 from the fact that he got denied the minions earlier. If he was level 6 when he landed the Void Seeker, could have followed it up. But overall, Kalist kind of baits the gank, wastes Lucid's time. KC get the first dragon.
Yeah, talking about levels as well. I mean, Career is on level 3. That Stand United is going to be a really important piece of the DK team fight, right? Like being able to use that killer instinct, get into the backline and smash, and then having your Shen travel with you is a big part of what makes this composition kind of cool moving into the mid to late game. But yeah, Career does need double the levels if he wants to be able to actually use that ability. See whether he's going to be sticking around in lane for a little while longer. Busio already level 4, almost halfway towards level 5. So that Hextech Ultimatum, which is also very pivotal, will be coming in first. There's a nice condemn into the wall though as the Q going to connect. There's the rocket jump, gets the buster shot onto this Lee Sin as the flash comes forward. First blood to Canna.
You got the cannon, but it wasn't worth it. They were waiting for that precise moment. Cannon's coming over. Shiu doesn't want to give it up. And that is just a perfectly timed gank from Yike to come in at the exact right moment. He has a farm lead over Lucid. Now he's got the first assist of the game.
Kana landing the condemn to set up Yike's Sonic Pursuit. The fact that they're able to both get a plate, crash the wave, deny so much from Shiwu. It's a fantastic start for Kana, and he also picks up the plated steel cap. So the matchup for Shiwu is you always want to continue jumping in, continue trading, but now Kana is so tanky that it's going to be really, really difficult for Shiwu to be able to replicate that.
So he gets the cannon and gets condemned to the wall here, the exhaust, but not even necessary as he feebly tries to ult Yike away, but Kana has the damage here, only takes a single turret shot, secures the kill. And this matchup, we talked about how volatile it is. We have a clear front runner now.
Certainly do. Meadow feeling pretty happy about how this one's going so far. Relatively early days, but an 800 gold lead is pretty decent here for Carmine Corp. Yike moving on over, doesn't want to give away all of these grubs. Does give away the first one though, and now Showmaker's making his way over. There's the crash into the wall, the Arcane Storm doing so much work here, and down goes Yike. First kill on the board here for D+ Kia as they even the game out.
Lucid recognizes the numbers advantage that DK has. He flashes onto Yike. Yike doesn't have time to react. It's a clean CC chain. They're able to get Busio's flash as well, and Yehu, he TP'd in, but it was, oh, he's staying.
All right, these little taunts to come on through here as Canner is a little bit further away. Career moves up, and it's going to be Lucid going back after those 3 grubs come in.
Bit of a cheeky chunk. He even cancels his base. Shiwu is really unhappy about that.
He is not enjoying his game right now. He took a ton of damage. I think that was actually a pretty smart risk there from Yehu to stay. But let's go back to the play here. It's a very quick turn from Lucid, knowing they have this rotation of the Victor over here, and there is no mid laner. The TP is happening now. So he realizes he gets the suppress here into the double impale, and then the gravity field is layered on top. There's no mobility here whatsoever for Yike. They get the kill, they get the secure of the grubs.
3 grubs for Tristana. There's at least a nice consolation prize, but he's going to need quite a bit more help to actually start winning the 1v1 again, to be able to be the one pressuring and actually utilize those grubs.
Well, Showmaker now, just with a little bit of attention from Busio and Yike moving on over here, just going to be playing defensively. The bottom side of the map, Callista's just trying to get towards that first item. Ludens is such a huge spike for the Ziggs. We'll be getting there relatively soon.
Something we haven't talked about so much is this Vayne pick is really, really good apart from the Tristana matchup. So the fact that Kana has survived this matchup, like when I think of my favorite ADC to play Vayne into, it's Kai'Sa. Because she's so short range, she always needs to interact with you as Kana gets the stun and gets another good trade. And then you're also playing into the Skarner, the Victor that you can dodge so many of his spells. You're playing into the Shen where it's so easy to dodge or even cancel his taunt. I think this is a really... This is a game that's set up for Kana to carry.
Yeah, I think he does need a lot of condemns, though.
That he does.
I think if they all pile in on top of him, he can only condemn one of them.
But he does have the Galio ultimate.
That's a good one. And he can go untargetable as well, right? Like with the ability to be into stealth, he can kind of deliver the Galio into a weird spot at the start of a fight.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm Vayne
strange things that but I mean,
maybe.
We've seen some Vayne play in the past.
That's
all right?
true.
All right, Lucid's coming up here, by the way.
It's a dangerous
They
thing.
don't have Yike nearby. He's fairly nearby, but they don't know about this. There's no vision. Kana could be in trouble here.
There is the taunt flash to come on through. Is kind of trying to get himself out of here. The killer instinct from Smash might be able to grab him the kill, and there it is. Gets himself the barrier to keep him alive. And now DK wanted to take some plates from this lane as well. Korea is Yeah, he's going the wrong direction here as he does Shadow Dash towards the inhibitor turret.
Like, Yike doesn't want to try to force it. I mean, he's going to have to execute regardless, but DK, they recognize that if they just leave Kana in the 1v1 against Shiwu, that Shiwu will just continue losing. So they go for the swap, and they're able to take down Kana and get some plates. The return is that Kalista is able to hit this bot tower and get some plates of its own.
If he had grubs, this could have actually almost been a backfire for D+, if the Ziggs was able to hit a little bit more on that turret, maybe even put it in the satchel range, but because he has none, because of that great play from Lucid earlier, he gets money. It's a great response on the other side, but it's not as good as it could have been. As you can see, he's actually most gold in the game right now on this Ziggs pick with all the additional time.
And that is with Smash getting the kill as well. So a lot of plates going over for Kalista. He's able to pick up the Ludens. So he's going to be quite a bit ahead of Smash now if they decide to fight for this Cloud Dragon.
Yep, already has the Sork shoes as well. So Luden Sorks is gigantic as far as Power Spike is concerned. You were talking about that Dragon. This Cloud is up and available. Mountain and Cloud, the first two of this game. Hextech Ultimatum onto Smash. The Galio coming in. And Korea wanting to try and stop Yehu from killing in his AD carry, and he will be able to do that. But the taunt was not exactly the best. D+ gonna have to back away and give Smash some time to make his way back in.
Yehu fumbled it. He missed the Galio Qs. He wasn't able to kill Smash. They still get his flash and should be able to pick up this Dragon unless Lucid is able to get a steal.
I don't know. Showmaker's coming over here, but he's still fairly early in this game to do damage.
Career little taunt to come through there. And there is just the kick to death onto this Shen. A lot of buttons now on cooldown, though, as KC losing their health bars as well. Lucid secures the Dragon, and the Void Seeker comes on through. Great satchel to interrupt Lucid, but you can see Yehu taking so much damage. The Impale will pull back Busio, and D+, they get the Drake, and a double kill for Smash's Kai'Sa.
A clean, slow fight here for D+, and he returns to the fight, ends up picking up the double. He was massively far behind on gold. Now he's got a 400 gold lead. I do want to mention briefly there was an all-in on the top side attempted by Conley, tried to knock Shiu back, and neither of them ended up dying. It ended up being just a reset up there, but that was also happening during all this action. They now have their teleports online, but did not moments ago, as here's the fight again.
It's very interesting here how DK, after Career dies, they recognize despite the fact that they're playing 2 versus 4, because Yike used the kick and Busio is so chunked, and the fact that Smash is moving, they're the ones that can take control. They can push KC back, and then after this, they're kind of spacing KC to not give Yehu this taunt, which then sets up Lucid to flash in, force the flashes, and just make it a clean.
And it's two consistent damage dealers here in the Victor and the Kai'Sa, and Kallista's otherwise cooldown based, right? Kana can't join the fight, so in these really long extended fights with those cooldowns used early, they realize they have the damage, as we do have a bit of a hide on Butch.
Yeah, Korea poking his head in. It looks like Yehu is going to be okay for the moment. The one thing that I do want to say is it must be nice for Showmaker to play one of his favorite champions of the year when it's been taken from him by Smash over and over again throughout this tournament. His Victor has been absolutely incredible, even though I think he went down like 0-3, but it was never his fault in those games. He was so incredibly strong on this Victor pick throughout this year, and he's demonstrating it once again. 0-0-3 right now as Lucid looking to move in. Actually going to get distracted by Busio, who was lying in wait. That is a lot of damage onto Yehu as the Arcane Storm comes down, and Showmaker will be able to claim his first kill of the game. A turret goes down as well, and this is really turning into a D+ game very quickly.
Yeah, KC, they have a slight cross map on bot lane. They're trying to zone Shiwu away and get this bot tower, but they don't have an actual wave. The wave clear from Vayne is so slow that by the time they actually respond, DK are already on the Herald at this point.
Yeah, there's really nothing they can do except try to push this bottom lane here. We'll grab another plate. I think that's going to be the last bit of gold they can get. Trying to dive this will be so tricky. Shiu does have his flash and ultimate available here. So even in a 2v1, it's going to be rough. There's a really tough spot there for Yehu, who used his taunt early. They're on the top side. Showmaker is just pushing in, and even though they had Busio there to defend, the Skarner gets first right of rotation there, and down goes that top side turret. So a big explosion of gold here. Now D+'s gold lead, the biggest we've seen so far at 2.2k, the advantage.
Lucid is going to get stunned up here by the wall dive. Hextech Ultimatum comes down as they deliver a gargoyle to the Scorpion, and down he will go. That is Kalist. Calist grabbing his first kill of the game. Where is the cross map going to be, though? That is the question. There isn't one. It's just going to be some damage onto this turret, maybe some plates going down, and actually maybe the entire turret, actually, because there's no one else coming on down here.
Rep Tristana, so I think it probably is going to be. They split the recalls there, and it looked really scary for a moment, but ultimately it's just going to be a huge win here for D+. Not a kill, but the entire turret.
I wonder if Kana stayed, if he could condemn Shiwu there and one-shot him with Yike. That's what I was thinking.
That's what I thought they were planning, but...
Yeah. Maybe a slight miscommunication there. It ends up being the full tower for DK despite the fact that Lucid dies on the top side. So it's still a win for DK as they continue building this gold lead, now at 2.6k.
Yeah, 2-0 as far as those turrets are concerned, so standing gold, something that we do like to talk about. With no turrets yet taken here for KC, they might be able to use that for a way back in. Oh, there's some parity as, man, that Void Sig almost taking the Raptor. That would have been heartbreaking for Yike, thankfully. He's able to lock that one down before that happens. But having a look at these items, we were talking before about this Luden spike, right? Like the Sork shoes on top of it. Such a huge moment for Calist. Well, now there's a Kraken Slayer and a Rage Blade on the Kai'Sa.
And how about a
Smashes in a good spot.
Second Kraken Slayer on Shiu, and they have a Victor who's about to get second item here. Blackfire plus the Andres. There's a lot of long-term damage. I think for KC now, you really need to win the fights quickly. You need to win them early. You need to use your Camille Galio to get picks and delete a carry immediately. Otherwise, I don't think you win the fight ever.
And KC cannot fight this Drake. They need to fix their lane assignments and have Kana into Shiwu, because otherwise Showmaker's going to win into Kana and Shiwu's going to push in Yahoo, and you can see Yike can't even take his red buff.
Oh, they're looking for Shiu now. Buster Shot does just get the Camille out of there. Another turret falls down as the entire outer ring has just been demolished. And Lucid now looking for an angle towards Yike. That kick still on cooldown for a... No, never mind. It's back up again. And Kana just catching the waves where he can.
No old. Lucio stayed. He's on the edge of maybe being able to get something here. It's going to be close. I don't think he can get him.
Yeah, it's too deep. Shiwu has both sumps as well, and he's quite tanky as well with the plated steel caps on level 13. Has the bone plating as well. So Lucio can't really threat alone, and KC desperately need to get Kana into Shiwu, or they cannot really break this because they don't have the damage on Yahoo to try to gank him either. Unless they can find a satchel there on Smash.
They will be able to get that. There's the flash to come through. Hextech Ultimatum. They get into range, and down goes Smash. That is a brilliant little pick, but Lucid still going for the fight. Flash out there from Showmaker, but the answer is there from Yike. Doesn't hit the Q, though, in the Arcade Storm. Will be able to help take him down. Takes a little while, though, and there goes Lucid on the other side of the fight. So an advantage going over to KC.
And this is what we talk about with KC. They just keep fighting, keep fighting. If we're getting pushed in every single lane, they just sack one lane and decide to put numbers, and we're seeing the full power of Camille Galio on display.
This is exactly the type of insta-pick I was talking about. You have to get the kill before the fight really begins. The worrying thing for me is that even though this is successful and Showmaker teleports into middle of the team fight on Victor, right, flashes to follow here, it's still such a close fight with one of the main carries deleted instantly. And I think that's a sign that maybe the hourglass is running out of sand here for KC. If they can't turn this game around soon, it may just be too late.
I agree with you, but Lucid also really peeled nicely there, because Yike was setting up to kick Showmaker as soon as he TP'd in, but Lucid instantly stunning him, and then Yike going a bit too deep, trying to get that insect. It means that while KC are trying to find their angles back in the game, they have diminished the gold lead by 500, but it's still DK that's in control. They're going to be able to continue pushing in all three lanes, and KC need to find another play, but you can see the recipe that they have for success.
Kana's about to cash out his call. He's got 6 stacks left on that. We'll be putting together a second item soon, but this Victor is the biggest one on the Rift. Double items here for Showmaker, who's incredibly fed. It does so much damage. So if you kill one of these 3 carries, there's still 2 left.
Yeah, it's the Arsonist Victor as well with the double burn items. He will definitely be doing a lot of work there. In fact, triple burn if you include his keystone.
And he's got 7 stacks of Dark Seal.
Oh yeah.
He's big.
He does have no flash though.
Yeah, and that is definitely a big deal, because in the last fight, I think one of the biggest things that went wrong for KC was the fact that Yike couldn't get onto this Victor, and I think that that was a bit of user error as well. If they're able to play that one out a little bit better, take down both the Kai'Sa and the Victor, then it's very comfortable
Baron on spawn,
securing the rest.
Triple carry, Leandri's Blackfire. They think they have the speed to do this, or at least are going to look for a turn. I think it's a little bit too risky, and they agree.
Yeah, this is very dangerous against Kalist, because if he lands, I mean, he's the one getting poked out right now, but I feel like if he lands a few bombs, he can really chunk DK, and a huge 6-ult when they're on the Nasher can be really dangerous.
This is probably the most Baron damage we've seen all tournament, by the way. Like, this composition just shreds the Baron.
As a domestic commentator of the LCK, D+ doing Baron, looking for turns, threatening, turning the poke back onto KC. This is not a D+ I saw a few months ago. This team has had serious growth. They're being so decisive here heading towards the late game. This is a different D+ Kia, and I like it.
Well, let's see whether they can actually find an angle as KC things very dark towards the north of the rift. And it's a Christmas tree on DK's side. Man, they have really opened the shutters. They can see everything with all of those wards. Rocks being thrown around here by Lucid. The minefield just avoided. And why is Askana a poke champion in this game? It's very strange. He's just throwing rock after rock, looking immortal with his Spirit Visage now completed alongside that Protoplasm harness. And yeah, I think they should go for another turn. They've got Shio on the top side, taking down this turret as well.
KC are in trouble. They can't come in here easily and deny this right now. They have to rush over, but they just have no vision. If they try to walk in, they'll just get caught. I think they're just going to have to give it up. The bomb is desperation.
Yeah, it does spot out that this Baron is being taken down as Yike. They need to keep him out of the pit. The problem is, I don't know whether he can get in. There is the secure from the Kai'Sa. And D+ Kia, they'll just grab themselves a purple buff and they'll go back home.
KC, they underestimated how fast DK could do the Dasher. Busio based, and with that they weren't able to face check, so they kind of had to wait for him to come back. They will be able to try to set up for Dragon. No, they weren't able to do that. That's very rough for KC here.
They got the mid turret. That's at least something, and that's really huge when you're running a Camille composition like this. At least it gives Busio some potential extra angles if they get map control back to actually dive and catch Smash in the mid lane and set up picks with the Galio. Camille, maybe that's one way back in. It's not going to happen right now, but at least they got that one little counter pick there in the mid lane.
D+, you were talking about it just a little bit too late as far as the Dragon spawn, and so KC couldn't leverage that extra little bit of map pressure given the resets.
Busio has a potential flank though on Showmaker if DK decide to put numbers into the bot side.
So close by.
For it.
Yeah, there is a nice little satchel here as there's a kickback onto Showmaker. They're looking to explode the Victor. He does do a lot of damage as he goes down though. And now the flash out from Smash will get him to safety. Lucid finding the impale. They managed to lock down Busio and down he will go. But Showmaker a lot more valuable here as KC look to reform the battle line.
And Yao can't do damage. So yeah, you got Showmaker, but it's a trade here. Busio's gone. There's no more engage. And the damage numbers are still pumping here for D+. So KC can't push the play further. I think this is a great flank. It's a great opportunity found here by Busio. This is the same kind of thing I was just talking about here. They kind of bait this, set this up with a kick from Yike, and Showmaker's down. But what do you do next? Career's able to flash over the wall. They get the taunt here, but Smash can follow flash. Sure, that's a big win. You took away the flash from the Kai'Sa, but D+ just have more damage output.
You get flashes on both the carries, but the fact that you're not able to convert that into a Dragon speaks volumes to how strong the rest of DK's carries are, even when Showmaker dies.
And I would be so annoyed at the fact that the role on the Dragons was Ocean in this game if I was KC, because they have so much like upfront burst, right? If you don't get through a target, they just stand back and their health bar just refills. That's assuming they're able to grab this next one in about 5 minutes time. But even with the 2 Oceans that they've picked up here, it's going to make it that little bit more frustrating to make this burst composition work.
And now we're looking at a Chiu who's massively ahead. Right now the side lane into the Vayne has been fixed. Now it's controlled by D+.
Yeah, she was really strong. Busio does still have the flash, while Smash and Showmaker use theirs in the fight. So if he's able to find another flank like that, where he can flash hookshot onto the carries, set up the Camille Galio ultimate, we've seen them one-shot the carries before, and there's still no stopwatch on either Showmaker or Smash against them.
And that is a very cool hat that has been purchased by Kalist as well. As far as 3 items are concerned, that is a large amount of damage that he's representing here onto the squishies of DK.
I think D+ need to be aware that there's no major objective up here for 3 or 4 minutes. And while their flashes are down, they should just clear waves and play safe, because there are so many tools for KC to steal away this game if they make a mistake, if they overstep, and they absolutely have no reason to right now. They have a lot of vision around the map they can fall back to, clear wave by wave, and not necessarily try to pinch inside side. Sure, that'll give some time for some of these members of KC to catch up like Kana on this vein. But I think it's the appropriate response here given the commanding lead they have right now. They do not want to toss this one away.
And this has been, you know, the hubris of some of the teams here at EWC has been their downfall. See whether DK can keep the respect levels high, make sure that they play this one out by the book in order to lock this one up. Kalist giving him the good thumbs up that he's been throwing around all tournament.
They have control vision around Busio. It's almost like he's trying to say like, oh, maybe you guys should try to go for a play here. But he's otherwise just going to sit back and clear the wave. This is the kind of play I'm talking about. They're hiding here, waiting to see if D+ will make a mistake. And so far, they have just not taken the bait.
And Kalist, while he has so much ability power with the Rabadons, with the Shadow Flame, he still doesn't have the Void Staff to actually get through Lucid. So it's really going to be up to Kana to be able to take down the front line for DK.
Oh no, and these luxury items are starting to come in. You were talking about the arm guard, the Zhonya's. That arm guard has been completed now for Smash, so he is not a target for Busio to jump on, right? Alongside this Galio anymore. That will be being put together by Showmaker as well, unless he decides instead that he wants like a Death Cap or a Shadow Flame or something like that, because he is Showmaker who does just like to do the damage if he can find it.
I mean, I feel like Seeker's Arm Guard counters this comp so damn hard. It's
yeah.
going to be really, really difficult for me to imagine how you can try to get that Camille Galio combo once Showmaker gets his Seeker's Arm Guard as well. I guess you can still look for Shiwu, but that also speaks volumes to the fact that there's 3 carries on DK that you need to worry about.
The triple carry comp is one we've seen from D+ a lot, especially when Shiwu picks up this Tristana.
This was their best archetype all last year, right? We were calling for it, we were asking for it.
Yep. And
they only ever did it like, you know, 20% of the time.
It's one of the things they were running on the qualifiers here as well to get to EWC in the first place.
And what we call this KC comp in Europe, the shotgun comp. You have 1 bullet, if it lands, you're golden, if it doesn't. But the problem is you have 3 targets and they can all stand far apart, which pretty difficult for a shotgun.
I mean, it is a really large cartridge, though. At least there is that. Mega Photobomb is a decent area, as now Shiu wasting no time. There's the Buster shot. Just playing tennis with Busio here.
They're so safe. D+ are just giving KC no options. It's not that KC isn't being proactive. It's not that they're trying. They're trying so hard. They're finding any angle they can, but they're just being shut down at every turn.
Smash looking for a little bit of a window towards Kalist there. Doesn't find the Void.
Baron's up.
5 seconds time, exactly right, Wolf. There is the purple buff available to DK to allow this siege to actually work. As these levels come in as well, speaking of siege, Shiu's going to have a pretty good time. That draw a bead really allowing him to hit from a really long distance away. Daiko catching onto this wave. Busio once again in a frustrating position. A Void Seeker is going to go wide.
Is he on the flank?
Korea finds himself the taunt on towards this Camille. The wall dive is going to connect onto Showmaker, but Busio is just dead. He avoids the heroic entrance and flashes away from Yahoo. The kickback as Yike gets on in there, but the Victor is still alive. Smash once again not finding the W, but Kalist is so far away from this battle. Yike still trying to bounce around, but it's Shiu that locks down that kill, and Smash will come in with the Acathian rain. D+ Kia wipe the floor with KC here in this late game, and they're looking for the Baron.
And career flash to block Yike's Sonic Wave to save Showmaker. And the stopwatch from Showmaker bought so much time as they see the pro view here from Smash. He kites back, and then he ultis onto the engage from Lucid, kills Kana, gets on
Special delivery.
Yeah, and he tries to W flash. Kalist flashes away. He doesn't quite have the damage to take down Smash, and now it's a Nash for DK. They can play for the soul, and KC's hopes for game 1 looks tired.
They're trounced, I think, in this one, unfortunately. D+ read them like a book in that fight, and the on-guard value you just mentioned, Jack Spectra. It's that moment. They block the engage there, and then there's a follow-up from Career. Guess what? Showmaker buys Zhonya's. He's got another one for the next fight, and they're even further ahead now. It starts to feel like we've already seen many Hail Mary attempts. I don't even want to say that that's the only way back in for KC. It's going to be D+. It's on them if they make a mistake here in this one, but they have every single piece of the map controlled, and the last possible objective to take for now is that Ocean Soul, and they've got their eyes on it. Busio's looking for Shiu here, but he's a bit short.
Okay, that's some damage as he dives on top of him. Busio will be taken down, but the heroic entrance is going to come in. They do lock down the Ocean Soul in the meantime, as it is a 1-for-1 support for top lane. Probably okay here for KC as far as that trade is concerned of champions. But I mean, Ocean Soul, we said it already, it's such a frustrating soul for KC's composition
They still got
to deal with.
They're pushing up mid.
And the bottom lane as well, as Victor has just hobbled his way over and is looking to break open the base down there. Lucid gets taunted, doesn't even really notice as the mini Arcane Storm comes down to the Galio, can do nothing about it. He goes golden, he looks good, but that is still going to be a dead statue on the Rift. And the first inhibitor will be taken down in this mid lane. Bottom lane as well, going to get destroyed as D+ just looking to steal everything. There's another Impale that will connect. The Killer Instinct from Smash for the immediate follow-up, and KC gonna have to go back to the drawing board, I think, after this game number 1, as D+ Kia, they look ready to win EWC.
Fantastic game 1 from DK. They had them pushed in every single lane. Khalid's doing some good damage, but it's not going to be enough to same game 1. I liked KC's resilience, how much they fought back, but DK remained in control, they remained calm, and they kept pressuring. And it was especially when they got that first Nasher that it felt like the game opened wide for KC.
I think in some ways, I want to champion how well D+ Kia played through that mid to late game, because we've often seen this team stumble there. We've often seen this team not close games out because they're not ready to make that tough call on Baron. But also, I want to say, KC, like you said, they kept looking, they kept fishing, and a lesser team would have been caught by so many of those Lucio flanks, would have gotten punished. And I think we're in for a great series here. Sure, this was a game that was always going to be volatile. D+ pulled ahead. It got really hard for KC, but it was a good game 1. It was very close, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of this BO5 has in store for us.
And there is also the point of the draft makes such a huge difference. I think KC were playing around what they had very, very well, but I think it could be better moving into the second game. Speaking of which, though, we have T-Gon alongside to break down that first one.
Thank you very much, guys. It is the LCK squad striking first here. D+ Kia take the victory in game number 1, much to the chagrin of the blue wall of Carmine Corp. But it is 1-0 D+.
And I think the approach that they went with the draft, they were just talking about the casters, was really inventive. The fact that they had this Tristana into the Vayne, who also has the Buster shot against the Camille. You look at the composition of KC, Camille, Galio with the Ziggs on top, you know what the game plan is, but 2 of the enemy carries can build stasis with a Seeker's Arm Guard, which they got later in the game, and the other one has the Buster shot to break the Camille out. And I think that meant it was actually really difficult for KC when they fell behind, because a lot of their attempts just didn't quite work out.
I feel like we've seen a lot of Lee Sins today that can't really quite get access into the backline, the taunts, the Seekers that Oaks mentioned earlier. It pretty much becomes that this champion gets really strong in the early game, but late game he just becomes a kick, and if you cannot find that either, it's kind of like a 4v5.
Let's take a look at some of the replays here, starting off on the bottom side of the map where Kai'Sa was the protagonist in this one.
I mean, I gotta say, DK was kind of greedy to picking up Kai'Sa and Victor in the same team against Ziggs Camille, but this attempt that they tried to kill Kai'Sa on the bot lane, it didn't work out, and I think this helped DK to have so much space in the early game with the scaling picks.
And it's crazy that they use these big tools to make that play happen. It's unsuccessful, and yet they still go for the fight afterwards. And they also just commit the Lee Sin kick there to take out Korea. And in the extended fight, they end up losing out because look at the health bars, the tools aren't available, and Smash is back on full HP to pick up the kills.
They have the burst damage, they have the one-shot combination, but after all, you just have to deal with the Victor Kai'Sa chasing you down.
Yeah, and you can see the thinking, right? If we eliminate one of these targets on the opposite side, that makes our Drake fight easier. But as you said, Ox, you didn't have those cooldowns. You then lose the ensuing fight because it goes longer, and that Kai'Sa still lived. A tough spot for KC to be on. Then later on here, 28 minutes, much further down the fight, the Drakes were starting to stack up here against KC.
Yeah, there'd been a lot of control from D+, just picking up picks into objectives. Here they look for Showmaker, trying to take him out, but the stasis, the value of this disrupting that engage, and then he can flash after the ult is timed out. Look at the cleanup Smash, just trying to run down Gleast, doesn't quite find him, but the fight is firmly in D+'s favor.
Also huge props to Lucid right there, breaking apart the fight. He was zoning constantly the 2 carries from KC of walking up and killing that Victor. So you can see the access was there, but once the Camille goes in, gets one shot, Lee Sin cannot follow up, your carries are not around, and just fell apart for KC.
I mean, now we should to talk about the draft once again because I think this is their second time bringing up the Kai'Sa against the AP bot lane. I think it's more about having better teamfight competition because it has been really chaotic, you know. I think none of the teams that can actually snowball from the early game like cleanly, you know. So I think it's all down to the team fight, and as long as you have the card, you have the power for the team fight for the late game, then I think you can always come back from the game, and that's the main theme about the DK right now.
I also think when you're playing a more static AD carry, you're trying to just get those auto attacks across. It's so hard into picks like Ziggs, you can just ult you and you lose half your health bar. With the Kai'Sa, you can still function from a distance with the W, but when the engage comes in, you can go in and follow up and instantly make the play. You also have a lot of tools to dodge abilities. I do agree with what we did said. I think the laning phase can also always be a little bit delicate if you're picking Kai'Sa into the likes of Ziggs, but if you get through that, which they did manage to, then you're really powerful in those 5v5s.
I just felt like seeing them versus T1 and how well coordinated they were. I felt like Busio and Yike really truly made the difference in that particular series, and I just didn't quite see Busio on the same page as Yike in this one, particularly since you really need to get that Lee Sin ahead. It just didn't happen. So maybe they'll just roll back a little bit more on comfort champions to just get that spark back for game 2.
Especially because that was a high priority pick for both of them on that Lee Sin. Lucid very deadly with it, Yike having the opportunity to play it, and Lucid on tank duty, and still not to be able to get over the hump feels like a pick wasted. And we're not in best of 3s anymore. We are in best of 5s with it.
I mean, for me, Kamikov is one of the team who has LCK playstyle when it comes to LEC, right? So I feel like they can just fit in just like DK is doing right now. So just put the classic carry on the Khalees and stabilize the game with your strong laners, who is Yehu in the mid lane and also Khan the top side.
All right, now before we're back with game number 2 of Karmine Corp versus D plus Kia, don't forget Season 2 of Level Up, the EWC documentary, is live now on Prime Video. So go check that out whenever you can. See you right after this.
In Korea, you are either a winner or you're a loser.
This would be the first reverse sweep in an international finals.
History will...
평가해보는 시간 가져보도록 하겠습니다. 그냥 칩인데? 감자칩?
프랑스 국민 과자인가?
뭐지?
치즈칩, 치즈.
냄새를 한번 맡아볼게요.
생긴 건데, 냄새가
냄새가 쉽지 않은데요?
과자에서 이런 냄새가 날 수 있나?
어떤가요?
냄새랑 다른 맛이 나는데? 아닌가? 약간 우유 맛이 나는 느낌인데?
몇 점 주시겠어요?
저는 한 8.5점?
8.5점?
저는 진짜 맛있습니다.
저는 제 취향이 아니라서 2점 줄게요, 2점. 좀 제가 이렇게 뭔가
어떤 부분에서?
좀 느끼한 것 같아요.
그래요?
제가 치즈를 막 엄청 선호하지 않아서.
이거는 뭐죠? 이거 그냥 빵인가?
미니 쇼콜라?
안에 건포도인가 이거?
그냥 빵집에서 파는 빵 냄새가 납니다, 일단.
무슨 맛이에요?
맛있는데요?
프랑스 콜라인데 초코 들어있는 거. 와, 너무 맛있는데요?
맛있네요. 맛있네요. 제가 또 빵을 좋아해서 맛있습니다. 뭐야 이번에는 그냥 음료수인데?
오렌지 주스 탄산?
그냥 약간 그냥 오렌지 주스 냄새 납니다. 먹으셔볼게요. 그냥 오렌지 주스에 탄산 들어가 있는 느낌?
말 그대로 그런 것 같아요.
아 맛있습니다. 아 이것도 8점.
한 7점?
왜 감점됐죠 얘는?
그냥 그저 그런 것 같습니다.
그저 그렇다. 저는 맛있었어요.
과자랑 비슷한 것 같아요.
뭐지?
치즈케이크 같은데요?
일단 되게 맛있는 냄새가 납니다. 맛있다.
케이크는 아닌 거죠?
점수 한번 매겨주세요.
저 한 5점?
5점.
Not my style.
저는 이거 9점 드릴게요.
이거를 9점.
굉장히 맛있고
이게 더 느끼한 것 같은데요? 다 드신다고요?
끝나고 몇 개 더 가져갈게요. 맛있습니다.
저는 빵을 더 갖고 싶긴 한데.
예?
이게 뭐예요?
버섯인가?
달팽이네. 먹어보고 싶진 않아.
엄두가 나진 않네. 가위바위보?
냄새 한번.
가위바위보 진 사람이 냄새 나죠?
좋죠. 가위바위보?
안 내어진 거 가위바위보? Try it. Let's go.
먹어봐.
이게 뭐라 설명 못하겠네. 뭐 약간 안 좋은 냄새와 뭔가 그
바닷가 냄새 나는데?
뭔가 그런 느낌도 있고.
점수요? 저 10점이요.
왜요?
너무 맛있을 것 같은데 못 먹어서 너무 아쉽고요.
10점이라고요?
네, 저 한번 트라이 해보고 싶은데 너무 아쉬워요.
저도 10점 드릴게요.
이거
저는 프랑스 하면 또 생각나는 게 에스카로그기 때문에.
안 좋아하실 것 같은데.
이게 제가 너무 먹고 싶었는데 또 괜히 대회에 지장이 생길까봐
그렇죠.
나중에 한번 트라이 해보는 걸로 하겠습니다. 이렇게 한번 프랑스 요리 다양하게 한번 먹어봤는데요. 되게 맛있었던 것도 많아서 되게 재밌었던 시간이고 앞으로 EWC에서 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EWC 2026. D Plus Kia lead the series 1-0, but this is a best of 5. They're going to have to lock in for at least another 2 games if they want to come away with that trophy.
Hopefully another 4, but we'll have to see what KC, how much of a fight they can put up. As game number 1, the draft was difficult to execute. They tried their hardest, but they weren't able to find the picks that the draft needed to be able to find that win. And DK were really disciplined, not giving KC that angle, showing a much higher, more consistent DK than we've seen in, what, years? I mean, it's been so long.
Yeah, it really has been. Honestly, since Canyon left this roster, the team has changed a lot. It's been a revolving door of players outside of Lucid, and this is the most consistent they've looked since their 2020-2021 days. It's just only in the microcosm of this tournament. LCK fans are praying that they'll win this and they'll take it to the LCK, but there's still a lot more EWC left to play.
This is the ridiculous thing, because DK also managed to clinch Legend Group. They were celebrating out of their minds that they made top 5 in the LCK, and they got very, very close to not getting there as well. I mean, the stars had to align to make sure that that happened, and from that point, they have now made it all the way here to the grand final of EWC for 2026. And yeah, I mean, Ian Chambers was talking about Cinderella stories and how one of them has to end. It'd be crazy to see either of these teams walk away with this trophy, as already we have a bunch of bans to come on through, the Jace, the Poppy, and the Syndra, all understandable here on D+'s side, as there is the Vi being taken away from Lucid. It always does need to be removed, as well as that Orianna that seems to be largely permaban throughout this tournament.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Cassiopeia. Because DK banned the Syndra themselves, it makes me think that they might want to first pick the Cassio. Victor as well being out, Orianna, as you say, Atlas. I think Cassio doesn't have a whole lot of answers. You can go the Anivia into it, but a lot of players have felt very comfortable playing that, especially with the fact that you can flex the Cassiopeia into the bot lane as well.
I wonder what this LeBlanc signifies, the ban here by KC. Obviously, Showmaker is a great LeBlanc player. It's a niche pick for him, but he will dominate lane and often just take over the entirety of Summoner's Rift with it. But drafting it this, or banning it this early, in the past, in the LCK specifically, would signify maybe an Azir pick or something like that, but it just makes the Cassiopeia first pick so free here as well.
But I wonder if maybe they're worried that if DK go Cassio first pick and Casey answer with the Anivia, then LeBlanc can have a very chill time into that Anivia pick. So that's what I assume Yahoo is going to go for here, and then probably a jungle pairing for Yike, probably the Jarvan, as that pairs well with the Anivia and good into the immobile. Actually, I forgot about Bard.
Yeah,
look for the Bard
it's
here.
Lucio's Bard as well. He is so incredibly good at this champion. An understandable pickup, if that's paired alongside the Ezreal as well for Kalist that he has had so much success on so far this tournament. That is a phenomenal core to start things off for KC in this draft.
I mean, it was the main reason that KC was able to win game number 2 against T1 was Bucio on Bard and Kalist on Ezreal. Bucio had like 6 kills on the Bard. He was just roaming around the map, doing so much work. And there's the Anivia for Yahoo up against this Cassiopeia, but now Lucid gets his hands on the Jarvan.
And now you could go Jarvan Ezreal here, in theory.
You could. You could also go for the Gnar pick, because some of those answers have been taken away here, and just go for your solo lanes locked up and then look for Smash and career based on the rest of the draft here for D+ Kia. I think the Jarvan is the most likely pick here.
I like the Gnar, because then you get to keep the Cassio flex as well, and because, as you say, so many of the picks are out, I think it's a really smart strategy if DK decide to go for it, especially considering Kana is the Gnar guy, you know?
Yeah, it just feels like a great denial pick here, all things considered. The one that I think would be quite strong. Shiyu, not known necessarily for his Gnar play, nowhere near players like Kana or Zeus on this pick, but definitely one he's played a lot in the past. He's been great at shutting it down as well. I think he's a little bit more famous.
He's more of
that.
an anti-Gnar rather than the actual Gnar player himself, but he has had some games on it, of course. There is that Ezreal that we were talking about, great into the Jarvan as well, so really does feel like it serves double duty. Not only is it a great lane alongside the Bard, but you can get out of a Cataclysm, which is going to feel great. And Kalist, pretty good at this particular champion.
Kalist can definitely be happy, but Kana might be a bit worried now as they get 2 bans to invest into Kana to take away any sort of Gnar answer he would have. I'm assuming maybe something like the Ambessa ban, or you can go even further and try to ban out even more range tops, but I feel like since we've left the Tristana and Vayne, probably just banning out more generic bruisers that Kana could pick into this Gnar.
Yeah, Varus and Twisted Fate.
Varus? Actually, Kana does play the Varus. I could see that being a potential.
I think
he doesn't play it that well, but he does play it.
junglers feels good too, because they don't really have a backbone of their composition just yet, so taking away the Xin feels really good here. They have the Jarvan on their side. Obviously no Lee Sin, no Skarner, so we'll see what Yike is looking for in this draft. We saw the Kiana paired with this Anivia in that semi-final match to great success, but I don't think this is necessarily that kind of draft. Nautilus is gone. I think that's a great ban here because it's one of the best ways to lock an Ezreal down guaranteed in a team fight.
It was an incredibly similar draft that Yike played the Kiana, though. It was literally these first 3 picks, and Casey decided, we're not going to have a front line, we're just going to play this like a pick comp, and just put up the Anivia wall, put the Kiana ult, put the Tempered Fate from Bard, and poke you out from range and never give you that normal standard team fight. And they were able to execute it against T1, so I feel like doubling down on it, I would like it.
And they ban it, so we're all on the same page here, I think.
I guess.
As we'll see what KC decide to do now, as they really do need something explosive here for setup. And
is it just the Varus? I actually really wouldn't mind it for Kana towards that top side of the map, and you can pick it away. Otherwise, Smash might be able to take that himself. Obviously, locking in a jungler does give you the ability to understand exactly what you're up against and then pick accordingly for the top side.
Fury
what they're looking at.
fulfills a similar role as the Kiana. Your goal is to just one-shot whatever target you first come across. I like the fact that they're delaying top until 5, because that way Kana can see all 5 champions here and lock in something that's good. The worry I have about Varus is I feel like if Kana makes one mistake, Lucid can just cap top and make him completely irrelevant in the game, especially if DK decides to look at a strong bot lane.
I think there were 3 strong options here. One of the third one might raise some eyebrows when I say it, but there's the Caitlyn, there's the Varus that you could have played into the Ezreal, and there's also the Kalista. I feel like when you have this Cassiopeia, you could have looked for a winning Kalista push, but instead, Caitlyn Lux to come out here. For career, we've seen this before, and Smash is an amazing Caitlyn player. Picked up the slack in the Challengers squad. We were swapping between Guma, obviously, as well, and learned from the best, right? Yeah. Back on T1. Very, very strong on this pick, and it is going to be a risky mid-game with this, but when we get to the late game with 3 scaling options here, including the Gnar, the Plus have a lot of late game power.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of the EU fans understand just how good Smash is.
This is the new Gnar counter pick. It's kind of coming up. It's a thing.
Yeah, this is going to be very exciting to see whether KC can play through Cannon towards that top side, but we do have Ian standing alongside who's managed to find an absolute prophet in the audience.
Absolutely, of course, there's an overwhelming amount of KC support in here. That's obvious, we're in Paris. But DK has its fans too. DK fans, how we doing? They're feeling good. They're feeling good. Wow, this is loud down here. So Helen, listen, you've got an amazing story because you downloaded the EWC app and you made a prediction a while ago. What did you predict?
So basically, there's an EWC app which is super awesome, and they closed their entry for the Pick'em tournament winner this Tuesday. And who I picked, of course, is D plus Kia with 0% selection. I can show you.
So you knew right from the start you had so much belief in this team. Now, you are in a very hostile environment. The French are loud and proud. How intimidating are they?
Well, I don't really hear anything, to be honest, isn't it? To be honest, everyone knows that Showmaker is good at where he is facing the home ground. So, you know what? Today's gonna be the Paris Library. We all know this, right?
They said it's going to be a Paris Library in here by the end of the match. Let's see what happens and keep on moving. Woo!
Oh my goodness, that was I was a little bit scared for that little section of the audience, but managed to make it through that entire interview. And here we are, ready to get onto the Rift for game number 2 of this best of 5 to see who is going to be able to lift this EWC trophy. And here we go. All right, KC, I do like this draft a little bit better, but I also feel like DK kind of had the answers once again. The Gnar lock-in definitely working out, but with the Olaf there towards the top side, I think that Kana has a lot of agency in this game.
Yeah, I think if Kana is off to a good early game, he can really take over team fights, because Lux is not going to be able to do anything against them. And Jarvan, he can commit the Cataclysm, but that's not who you want the Jarvan ulting in a team fight. So I feel like if Kana is able to find a flank, he can really, really do some damage, but it's up to Smash and Career to really stop this bot lane, because that's why you're playing Caitlyn Lux. You pick this Lux over the Karma to go for the Flash Q level 1, to really get plates, to get strong, because 20 minutes into the game, you'd always rather have the Karma with the Mantra shields and the movement speed that she provides, but Lux provides more early game pressure, so it's up to Career to make that happen.
Yeah. See how this top lane goes, because we've seen this matchup be super volatile as well. This one is more pivotal here at level 1, but it's been a matchup we've talked about so much more recently. You know, Atlas and I were talking about the first time we saw this tournament. I initially kind of thought, well, if you're perfect with the Gnar, the Olaf shouldn't be able to do anything, but it just hasn't worked out that way. Showmaker's going to take a huge chunk here, but we'll be fine. As if you hit an undertow, you hit another undertow, you run at the Gnar, you've got Ghost. Is Showmaker continue to trade level 2?
Yeah, that Noxious Blast, if that had landed, yeah, he might have just been dead. Is drinking his potion though, Showmaker doing the same thing. The Snake Lady definitely feeling very comfortable at this stage of the matchup. Wave is going to crash towards the turret though, and it looks like Yehu is going to be all right for the minute. Yike on his Wolves now as the Raptors have now been taken by Lucid. The flash out of the way here from Showmaker, avoiding the stun out of this Anivia.
I think he health. I think they want to challenge jungle here with the prio that Showmaker has.
I think Showmaker thought that Yike could be in range to follow up on the stun. Lucio is roaming here. But Lucid is trying to sneak away the Krugs. I wonder if Yike will... Does he know? He seems to know.
Yeah, he's just immediately going to bounce over. There is the smite from Lucid, finds the Q for most of the little rocks there as well. So a decent early start here for DK, but I'm worried with that flash being down from Showmaker in the mid lane. These roams from Busio that the Bard really wants to be doing could be absolutely deadly.
I just don't know if he's going to get to roam that much in this matchup, though. He's kind of locked in right now as Smash and Career going to crash this giant wave, and they know that Nefuri's top, so they can sit on this lane. If you don't know where the Nefuri is, you got to be cautious here, but because they do know, they're taking plate money.
One thing that's really nice about this Lux pick is as the Ezreal in this lane, you'd really want to go to teleport so that you can get a free recall early on. But if you go teleport against the Lux, you're so vulnerable to that Flash Cosmic Binding. So that's why Kalista ends up going for the cleanse, which means it's a harder early laning phase for him.
It doesn't have teleport, doesn't have the barrier either, obviously combat-wise, so just very vulnerable in this early game. As they're looking to punish this flashless Cassiopeia, but Showmaker is very aware of it and is willing to sacrifice a little bit of lane here in order to be safe.
I mean, Yahoo is stepping forward with 300 less HP, so nice that Showmaker realizes. Yike needs to try to cross mid lane here and get that bot crab, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to get it just due to how strong DK's laners are, with Showmaker being full HP, bot lane being completely pushed in.
Wait. They're just getting miasma, taking a lot of damage here. Does still have the egg, which is why he can still play a little bit further forward, but might need to invite the doggo to come back towards this mid lane. Try and keep him alive. That will be that crab going down. Yike does collect that one for himself. As Lucid gonna come on over and look to pick up his Raptor camp when it is respawning.
Anna's having a rough time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not feeling great at this stage of the matchup. Oh dear, Lucid going to get hit by these daggers. And Korea moves his way over, gets that shield out onto the Jarvan, gets a return as well, but there is an egg in the mid lane, and Showmaker is just biting it with those Twin Fangs. Does manage to respawn. Now back to not a very high health bar as now Canna looking to go aggressive. Up damage does come through, but there's the undertow, and here is the all-in, the flash to follow. First blood solo kill for Canna.
And that's why you picked the Olaf. Canna lands every undertow, flashes after Shiwu. He was struggling in the early game down in CS, but now getting the solo kill, he can crash the wave and finally make some use out of this Olaf.
Was it before level 6? Just hits the right, he finds the right window there. It's enough damage and pops the ghost. So you can see right now, obviously a little bit low on health, but that's where Olaf wants to thrive here. Knows he can come in. Yes, there's going to be a hyper proc here. He tries to go for the hop, but then has to kite back left. And the follow flash is there. Great undertow accuracy there, of course, from Kana to set it all up. And he picks up a massive win here. First blood for KC.
You have to feel the crowd having his back is helping him.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're playing Olaf. I feel like Olaf is a momentum champion. You know, you always need to click forward, always need to continue playing aggressive, even when you're low, even when you're struggling. As Busio wants to try to get a chunk on Showmaker here.
Showmaker able to slither his way out, but does still get caught by the stun out of Yahoo.
I feel like Showmaker's had such a fantastic tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And especially game 1 as well. It felt like for me it was the biggest difference makers. Maybe I jinxed them now.
Perhaps Lucid is up here towards his top side. Showmaker just going to slink on over towards him. So Busio, even on the return, unable to quite find the value here.
Yeah. And a 2v2, Showmaker's ult way more valuable than the Anivia's as well in that type of exchange. So I think as soon as that's hit, it's just best to walk away. A lot of control here, though, for Lucid top side. He's got so much deep vision. And he's going to wrap back around. Meanwhile, Busio trying to find an angle here, but Smash and Career too safe.
And Busio needs to be careful because he's paying a price every single time he goes for these roams. There's now 2 plates going over the side of this Caitlyn Lux and a 10 CS lead for Smash. And if Busio continues roaming like this, suddenly Caitlyn can take that bot tower, swap up into top lane, and just explode the whole game.
Yeah, we see that oftentimes, especially if a gank goes off, you see a dive, then that happens every time, but Lucid's been patching holes elsewhere on the map. We'll be losing this scuttle, and right now, this timing, they're looking to potentially start this drag. They did not have a ton of control just yet.
Yeah, Career and Busio are in the area. We do see the flag going down to get information of this Cloud Drake being started potentially by Yike. Showmaker going to be catching this wave though, and tempo advantage does go towards KC, using that for a reset for the Anivia. And Career and Smash just continuing to walk towards this turret in the bottom lane and remove crockery every single time. Plates going over. That's a third one here in Smash's back pocket, moving him up to a 450 gold lead.
DK need to be a bit careful in bot lane though. They still don't have a ward. I was going to say that Yike's about to level 6, but he just decides to clear his topside camps. So there's not going to be a gank there available. Just wants to clear all those. And wait, Showmaker and Yike aren't going to find each other.
interesting maneuver here.
Showmaker's
I'm not sure where he's going.
Wrapped all the way around here.
I think, did Yike? I don't know if Yike spotted him. I think he was maybe in the bush. Otherwise, I feel like Yike would have tried to chase him, delay his tempo, not let him recall. But still, he has to walk quite far, so he's going to lose some minions in mid. Speaking of losing minions, Kalista is struggling in bot lane.
Showmaker's not going to commit the TP, interestingly. He's just going to walk all the way back and sacrifice some CS here, put himself 300 gold behind in total as a result. His plate, I believe, also, yes, did go over to Yehu. Ooh, not going to matter.
The sneaky little trap hidden behind the turret. Very, very nice there from Smash, but Kalist not going to be dead as a result of that one. But as everything sort of settles and waves reset, it is still 2 waves in advantage here for Smash, as well as all of that plate money that went his direction. As Busio magically journeying over, does miss the Cosmic Binding though, and is now just going to take a lot of damage from these Twin Fangs on the return. Showmaker standing his ground quite well on this Cassiopeia here in this mid lane for now. Champion that he has had struggling times on in the past, but these scrubs have been started.
Xiu with an R-bar here. I think D+ should have control of this, and KC should just evacuate. Yike is staying very long.
Yeah, the house does fly on through as the flash out from Yike, not wanting to mess around at all.
They'll get 3 for 3 off of this, so a huge win here for D+.
Feels like DK is just winning every single lane and utilizing that pressure so well. Smash should know that Kana is here. So unless Kana does a crazy undertow, maybe could force the flash.
Just going to quite find that one, as the Ragnarok not going to be invested either. Shorts the undertow there. Career going to be able to come on over and help. There is a Lucent Singularity in the air. Peacemaker goes wide.
Very, very tightrope walk there. From
a lot of things just barely not hitting.
Yeah, very, very scary moment there, but he will be fine. No punish. Dragon still in the mix here, and finally it looks like Yike is going to have enough control to start this one up with the control they have in mid with Yehu. Career's going to try to go suss it out.
Stopping this Drake stacking from the Caitlyn Lugs would be really good for KC, but
oh, the double stun from that light binding Smash. Finding the combo is Kalist. Is he getting soloed by Xiu? The flash and slaps him down. There is the solo kill for the Gnar. Showmaker going to get walled away, but you can see Yike down to sub 100. Kana is basically dead as he's going back to base. Very brave, as Yike is going to let his top laner live and somehow survive that ace in the hole.
It's an absolute disaster for KC. They get solo killed on top. They're not having the damage to deal the Drake. As we see how Xiu was able to pick up this solo kill. He dodges the Qs from Kalist. He has the damage. Gets on the edge with the Mega Gnar ultimate.
And I'm not sure if that thumbs up was to signify you got me or I got away, but it was on the edge. And either way, it's a thumbs down from KC fans. The result, that is to say, as Xiu picks up the solo kill there. And in the moment, in the bottom lane there, the double root was just the cherry on top. It meant guaranteed there was no way KC could win the fight, but at least they were able to get out with everyone's lives, as Kana was so incredibly low that he wasn't taking an ace in the hole, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I love that Xiu is 100% everything contribution as far as kills and deaths. A solo that went his way and against him. So this Gnar is a decent spot, but kind of out of lane, not quite finding the value that Xiu has had, just chilling out here towards his top side and keeping on pushing. We'll have that Trinity Force completed relatively soon. As chasing down Kana, I mean, this is the thing, it's the all-in that Xiu needs to be very, very careful of, but otherwise should be in a good spot in the lane.
Like Busio hasn't been able to find any roams. He's mostly just going to mid lane trying to help Yehu out, but the fact that they haven't been able to get anything off of Showmaker flashing early game, get any sort of lead for Yehu, despite it, feels really bad for KC. They're bleeding on bot lane. The top matchup, while Kana got the solo kill, he's still getting pushed in. There's no lane for Yike to play through. And it just feels like KC's outclassed across the board as Kalist gets chunked once again.
Opportunity here for Yike, potentially. He is here faster. They have the magical journey. Smash may get punished.
Yeah, Arcane Shift forward. There's the ulti from Yike to close the distance. And down goes the Caitlyn. No response. Tempered Fake and a whole career in place. Lucent Singularity is down. The Cosmic Binding somehow missing. That Light Binding just gorgeous from this Lux player. As the hop comes in, Xiu is dead again, ladies and gentlemen. And Busio will follow pursuit on the bottom side of the map. Still, KC come out on top with that extra kill, but there is a flag and drag bringing Lucid over. Yike gets the doggos back though, and these Darkened Daggers do a lot of work. Lucid trying to at least keep this fight going until Korea makes its way over. But it looks like Yehu not going to be helping out as Showmaker making his life annoying. Man, this one is so much closer than game one.
Yeah, Busio, great Bard portal there to finally break the formation of DK and actually open up this game. KC getting a lead now. Kana getting the solo kill back to back, showing the power of this Olaf, and hopefully he can then use that to transition into a bigger lead and get push in top. I feel like looking at Yike's game plan, you can see how far down in CS he is on Lucid. Lucid is playing so well around these prio lanes, consistently invading Yike, full clearing his jungle, so Yike needs his teammates to actually help him out in this game.
I don't want to say it's a drop in the bucket, it's a significant pick, but doesn't overall change the game state here on the bottom side. Smash is still going to pick up first brick here. We'll have this massive push, so you slowed it down, but it's not going to actually ultimately be a massive game changer in the early parts of this one. I was going to see exactly what went down here is you hit an undertow, you got the ghost available, pressing R, this time he's got it, Shiu just cannot escape, it's getting run down. The more significant play, though, I think, was that kill in the bottom, and like you said, finally Yike is able to get a punish on this pushing Caitlyn lane. The follow-up, though, from Career, trying to catch him, backfired in a big way, so it's one step forward, one step back for KC on the bottom side of the map. At least this Olaf is huge because someone's going to have to get backline access, and he's going to be the one. He's going to be the one running towards Smash. And Showmaker with impunity in these late game team fights if they can get there.
And someone needs to kill the back line because Kalist is down 1,500 gold. If this is a fight where Smash and Kalist are both just able to do their damage, Smash is going to do way more, especially with Career landing the Cosmic Bindings. He's ahead as well, got that Shirelius. Showmaker, while he's completely equal, he should be able to start getting ahead now with the pressure from Lucid with how strong this Dragon is into the Anivia.
Yeah, and these undertows really do need to land. With Shirelius done, it just gives you so much extra movement speed as Busio, snagged by the light binding. Man, Korea is having one heck of a day today as he lines up the angles, keeps himself safe in the previous fight, and executes Busio in this one. 0-2 now for the Bard, unfortunately, and more plates are in danger. These three grubs putting in work alongside the Caitlyn, just getting around the map. And I was going to say this before, this reminds me of Deft and the way he used to use Caitlyn, which is park it outside a turret the entire game long. And they are just playing this siege game so beautifully. Yike now going to take a bit of damage through the doggos. Going to need to press W to grab those ones back. But Showmaker and Yehu have just been fighting anywhere on the map right now.
D+ are going to group for this. And KC just don't have any in right now. Yehu has TP, but he doesn't have Prio on the top side. Showmaker gets here first if they are going to commit those. I don't think they will. I think this one is just a done deal with all the mid Prio right now. D+ are in such a good spot. If KC hard force and lose this fight, it might be the end of the game for them.
KC just don't have a lane to play through. Kalist Arcane shifts forward, but he's still losing the 1v1
against flanking
Smash.
A little bit, but he's found here by Shiu.
If they can stall out the Mega Gnar from Shiu,
could be a big deal. I do think the cannon is going to be the most important part. There's the Tempered Fate catching onto the Jarvan. Not a lot of follow-up there, though, as Korea demanding that Arcane shift out of Kalist.
The problem is the lanes. KC recognize the fact that DK are pushing both mid and bot. If they're going to get the Dragon, it needs to be right now. They can probably rush it and get away with it. It feels like they kind of got away with something they shouldn't have, as DK were the stronger team. But due to the fact that DK decided to push both mid and bot at the same time, small window with how much damage Nefiri does to the Dragon, KC get the Drake.
And KC also get another gift, and that is, it's a Chemtech Soul this game. Olaf with Chemtech Soul?
That's broken.
That is absolutely ludicrous.
I think when you look at that last fight, it was a sign to me that, first of all, I liked Kana's flank there, kept the Gnar honest, prevented Shiu from looking for an over-the-wall engage there, but it also meant that D+ realized there's a level of volatility in this fight, which gives a potential, if KC outplay there, for them to get back in the game, and they're just willing to give one elemental to not toss this one away, especially with the Gnar bar fading away. Speaking of Gnar bar fading away, Kana is just taken over the side lane. He's got a Stride Breaker. He's going to use this. We do have a bit of a Herald fight here on the top side.
Yeah, being able to fight away from the Olaf could be a good thing here for D+ here, as now Showmaker slithering his way down from that top side of the map. Busio loses half his health bar. There's a great knockup from Lucid. And now where are they going to look? Showmaker is bearing down. Gets the flash ulti, but no stuns to come in. But he's just sidestepping the rest of KC. Kana now making his way into the fight, though. And you can see immediately DK like, nope, get me out of there.
Just going to get the turret here instead.
And KC, they're onto the Herald, but they do this so slow. I think DK can just rotate and force them.
They're just going to get the turret, and they're going to come over here and try to stop this. Lucid is on this left side angle, can actually get in so easily on this Jarvan.
Light Binding comes in, connects onto Kana. He doesn't press the Ragnarok button just yet. The Ghost has been used to start this one off. Yike gonna have to get out of there. Meganar in perfect timing for Shiu to make sure that this Rift Herald goes over to D+. And the pressure just continues to mount on the shoulders of KC. And DK are just... He doesn't press the Ragnarok button, just bearing down on them.
Yeah, DK are routing them. They have full control, and the way that they can just poke them without giving KC the engage. KC are the ones with the S-roll. They have the poke themselves, but due to how far behind Kalista is, his damage doesn't stick to any target. And Showmaker's so, like, Showmaker's tanky, Lucid is tanky, Shiwu is tanky, so as long as Smash and Career are not the ones getting hit, but now, Yahoo looks like he might be dead.
Got some friends coming though.
Yeah, Cataclysm comes in. They're going to have to grab this egg as soon as possible. There's the auto attack to do it. And he can no longer move. There's a knock up onto an already very stationary target. True Shot Barrage not doing too much as Yahoo down already. Busio keeping himself alive though, and now Kana bearing down with these axes. Lucid is going to be his next victim. And okay, never mind. He's just going to take the Shelly exit. He's going to drive towards this mid lane.
Yeah, he's going to come in and try to, well, I said try to, get into the mid lane there and look to actually push that towards that inner turret. All the while, it is going to be a whole turret taken here on the top side. I think that was the right play from KC, though. You got to look for stuff like this. You cannot just sit back and go, oh, we lost control. We're just going to play it slow and safe here because this composition isn't going to scale up. If you see Yahoo get caught here, you got to just full send on defending him. You're going to play through egg. You have the egg here, so you actually have some additional time, even though Kalist can't get here. And ultimately, did this really work? Did they get a ton of control back? No, but they got to go Olaf in here. They get a kill. This Olaf is going to be their late game win con. It's going to be a really hard path to get there, but at least they get something back. It comes at a heavy cost, though, as that top turret is wiped out.
Once again, Career is just incredible, by the way. The Ragnarok wears off, and instantly he's tagged by a Light Binding. Like, I can't hit the Light Binding on a stationary target, let alone timing it perfectly through a wall.
I just feel like KC are so weak, apart from Kana. Like, you see that fight, and there's, like, no damage on Showmaker until Kana gets involved. And the problem is if Kana wants to continue evolving himself in these plays, Shiwu is going to take those towers so incredibly fast. He has 3 grubs, has the Trinity Force, and a Fed Gnar is going to be even more difficult for KC to eventually have to deal with.
It's so weird that you say Fed Gnar when he's been solo killed twice.
But he is just getting so much time.
You're absolutely right, and that's what makes it so weird.
Because it's pseudo 3-carry comp. It's not quite the 3-carry we saw with the Tristana in Game 1, but he's going to be a side lane threat. He's going to be difficult to answer. And so a lot of resources will have to be spent if D+ continue controlling this map, which right now, they're doing such a great job. I mean, Lucid here is starting to challenge the camps of Yike directly in his face. He's a full level up. Just straight up here on this Nefiri.
Lucid would look for a little bit of an angle there as Busio going to have to use his McHales to keep himself alive. The magnetized Light Bindings always connecting here from Korea.
And it just feels like every part of KC is outmatched by DK. You see Lucid forcing Yike out. You see Career forcing Busio out. KC really need to find an angle to get a numbers advantage somewhere, but it's a very similar situation to Game 1, where they don't have one lane that they can actually play through. All the lanes are getting pushed in, so they need to channel that creative energy that we saw from Game 1 to be able to find a pick using the Tempered Fate, using a teleport flank, or just some other creative avenue.
It's a 2 Drake game at 20.5 minutes. And D+ are going to get this third one, but I don't think this is one that KC should fight over. Another potential angle here for KC when their Ezreal is, at 21 minutes here, not even on that second item spike. I think you just have to play slow. I think you have to play through Kana being the raid boss. You have to play through Kana being the one and follow up on that. Try to zone with your Anivia wall and not try to play a traditional team fight, but just play an Olaf team fight later on in this game.
I also think showing how much control DK have of this game is the fact that they just did Dragon, and KC's cross map was 1 plate on top.
Hey, at least they got a plate on top.
At least they got a plate.
And got a little bit of respite with the wave being pushed out or 2. That's certainly helpful. Canna on the bottom side of the map as well is going to greet this outer turret at the same time. 3 turrets, though, have been taken here for DK. The map is just shrinking on the side of KC. And Canna comes on over. Yes, he gets the overgrowth. That is about it, as Korea just kind of by himself is pushing KC around here in this mid lane. Lucid looks for an angle in as well. That is a possible engage option, but
I don't know about fighting into a Lux and a choke with a Jarvan here and a Gnar that's sitting on TP in the bottom lane. They're gonna have to evacuate. If you try to look for picks with this KC comp, it's not the Camille comp we had in game one, right? Sure, they have a Nefiri, they have a Bard that can maybe split a team fight in half, but you're just not at the power level right now to actually win said fight, even if you have the numbers advantage. So I think they need to play passively, but if you play passively, you just get pushed out the map. It's a losing game almost no matter what choice you make.
I do think, though, when you look at the items, this is really the timing that KC should look to fight, because it's 2 items across the board for pretty much every player, while if you stall, then now Smash can get the LVR before Kalista gets his third. Showmaker can get his third faster as well. So I think if there was a time for them to try to find something, it is right now, but it's really difficult to see how they do that.
Yeah, what tools do they really have besides a wall and a potential Bard ultimate? Because D+ are playing grouped. They're actually following each other, not sending someone super deep in the side. And when they know KC are grouped elsewhere, that's when Shio pushes aside, right? Or vice versa. Showmaker, right now the 1-3-1 is working a treat. And KC got a blast cone here to maybe try to play with onto Showmaker. Maybe that's your best angle, but he's got this ward here, he's got vision, he's got the push. It's hard to catch anyone, and if it takes you too long, then all of those the rest of D+ rotates up, which is exactly what's happening right now. So Showmaker's just chilling. Here comes Lucid.
Yeah, because DK can just continue pushing in mid. So as long as that 5-10 second timer, the side laner respects, DK can always cover that side. So that's why KC needs to find someone misstepping, be really, really decisive on that play.
Ooh, maybe a bit of an angle here. As Yank coming on over, but they do manage to get the shield out for Korea, helping Lucid stay healthy. So KC moving on over now. True Shot Barrage connects onto Smash. They get that position. Flash out of the way of the Tempered Fate is good. And Korea is now definitely going to be a juicy target here for KC.
So they utilize the timer there of having Yahoo drop the top wave and moving straight. They get the flash as Kana looks for the solo kill.
Oh dear, a third one. Let's see whether he can make it happen. As yeah, this one's looking easier than the first two, although the kiting comes down. There's the undertow, and he'll be able to lock that one up. On the other side of the fight though, Yahoo going down to the egg one more time. Would you like it scrambled, DK? That is the question. They got some time to think about it, as Showmaker is going to be able to grab that breakfast. Still, Lucid's going to go down as well. And that is Kalist now with a kill to his name as well. The Ezreal feeling better, and you mentioned it. This is the spike KC want to play around, and they get their fight.
I need to see a replay. How did Yahoo end up so deep in enemy territory there? Luckily, Lucid goes a little bit too deep, and they're able to one-shot him as he goes in, but Yahoo...
Fishing for stuns.
This looks good. This looks good.
Yeah, fishing for stuns.
He gets chained.
And then I think what I would have liked to see here for KC potentially is a TP from the Olaf. If Olaf TP's behind, maybe they could actually make something more of this, but he was so focused. He doesn't have his ultimate, obviously, but I think even him being a body there on the other side could give him more of an opportunity, as this is the first-person view on the third solo kill here for Kana this game.
I feel like Kana, let's see how low he was. He finishes this fight at 700 HP. The thing is, I feel like KC should just back off, let Kana finally get bot push after you've gotten the solo kill, and then you should finally have a pushing lane that can generate you some pressure. But it's good that we continue to see KC fight. You know, they continue finding these angles, and while that wasn't the play from Yahoo, it still ended up being a 1-for-1. Lucid was a bit of a shutdown.
Yeah, shutdown. It's a Kalist as well.
So it is like gold going over the side of KC. It was nearly a 4,000 gold lead for DK. Now it's 2,000 with KC looking to pressure up top lane.
Definitely a big swing back in favor of KC. Still haven't done all of the work just yet as we crest the 25-minute mark. Baron been up for about 5 minutes time, but it's a 20-second timer on this Chemtech Dragon. That'd be soul point for DK. Lucio almost just dead. There's the ace in the hole. Almost dies from that one as well. And all right. Oh, there's the final spark. Sometimes the emotes come too soon as Korea puts him down.
Korea just capping him in this game. He is destroying him.
This is probably Korea's best game. I haven't seen a performance out of this guy like this for a really long time.
It's crazy. We could argue a little bit of a mistake there from Busio as well, but he just keeps hitting these bindings. The headshot comes through.
The Caitlyn is online. Like,
this is crazy.
Doing so much damage. KC, if they want to win a fight, they need to focus Smash down, because otherwise he will tear down their team apart.
And this is just a free dragon here for D+. I mean, look at the map. There's just no way in. KC don't want to give this up, but they don't have a choice. Kalista also in a bit of a bad spot here.
Yeah, Peacemaker does not find the target. There's the Tempered Fate to keep them at bay. Shiu now looking for Yike as Yahoo is up towards his top side as well. Yike gonna have to flash out as Old and are just barely not able to get in there, but Showmaker turns up and Yike realizes I'm just gonna have to hold forward. Unfortunately, you're going straight into the Petrifying Gaze as Yahoo is getting surrounded. Kana shows up though. Do they have the DPS to deal with this Olaf? That is the question. He does put the chicken in a cage, and Showmaker is going to come over and sink those fangs in. And now, with the Ragnarok running, he's looking for one kill, but Shiu's going to survive because he has his friends here this time. And DK, they find 3 in the topside play.
And I mean, this is the moment where D+ proved that grouping like this and reading the plays from KC, having these fast rotations, having the support of anyone who's trying to get pinched is always going to work when you're this far ahead. You have this much map control. As Lucio hung around for a moment here, but likes being alive, and we'll just let this Baron go. As a final spark will stop Callists back one more time, and D+ are so in control of this game as we go back to this initial setup here.
DK has silenced the crowd here. Yike wants to try to dive Shiu, but he's just so weak. He can't actually fight him 1v1. Shiu will recognize it's the bluff. Showmaker knows that Yike needs to go on to him, lands the Petrifying Gaze, and now Kana's TPing in, but what can an Olaf do here?
He can't do anything because his DPS is gone, right? Yahoo is still early days here and very vulnerable in this fight. And the Ezreal is in the mid lane. Can't get access, has no prio into the Caitlyn, and is just pushing the wave as he's cheering in the mid lane. Well, there's nothing he can do. He drops a true shot to try to snipe Shiu, but he's unsuccessful. And D+, by the way, instead of letting their top laner get caught there and avoiding the fight and getting a dragon, they win the fight, then they get the dragon. So now they have soul point. They got wins on both sides of the map. We'll see if Shiu can escape here.
Oh, well, I think this one's going to be a difficulty because just one Olaf has been a problem so far. Does have Mega Gnar coming up, though, as Busio finds the Cosmic Binding. Still, the pressure here from D+, just a little bit too much. Gnar is able to get away. The dragon is taken, soul point is claimed, and they're going to look to take down this turret as well, because I feel like that whole last section of play had nothing to do with Smash, who is now, like, 3.5 items. This Caitlyn is ludicrously strong.
Yeah, that was pretty much a team fight without Smash. That was all Showmaker and Shiu. So now, if Smash gets involved, it's going to be so much more difficult for KC.
Oh, Lucid just going to put them into the Cataclysm. Final spot comes down, but Lucid's in a bit of trouble. And now it's Smash's point of view. Takes down Busio first. There's the second as Yike goes down. He is put behind the wall, but the rest of DK are getting on in there. Shiu, possibly a bit of an overextension, but Smash goes back to his favorite thing, and that is dismantling the house of KC. Inhibitor turret goes down in the mid lane. Showmaker chasing out Calist on this top side, and there's the knockup from Lucid. The 1-2 punch of the mid jungle looking good as D+ Kia are poised to pick up match point here at EWC 2026.
Dominance.
Yeah, that's the only word I can think of. It felt like DK had full control of this game the entire time. Even though Kana got 2 solo kills, it didn't feel like KC ever really had a pressure point to play around to be able to find an advantage in this game. They're going to look to cancel the bases. The Temper Fate lands, but you can't really do anything.
Well, Korea is looking to get out of the way of Yahoo here. Goes down to about 50% as now kind of runs in, looking to try and kill Smash, but he just flashes away and gets the headshot down onto this Viking. Now Busio and Yahoo, they are so incredibly low.
All these fights is just like Kana and 4 potatoes, you know? D+'s like, all right, kill that Olaf, and the rest of the team is just not going to be able to do anything. Yahoo has no mana. In the last part of that fight, he spent so much time trying to whittle away in this early part of the skirmish, but look at the fight that KC are trying to take here. They have no control. Lucid's able to flash away, and then once again, you just can't deal with all of this damage coming out of Smash.
Yeah, I feel like DK can play the fight however they want because Lucid can tank the backline for 5 seconds, while it only takes 2 auto attacks for Smash to kill the backline and front line of KC. So it's so difficult to see an avenue for success for KC this game, because it just feels like they've been shut down every single play that they went for, every single lane that they went for, and DK have just been better throughout the whole game.
This feels like suffocation here from D+ Kia. Every answer seems to be there, from this Caitlyn Lux lane being so incredibly suffocating, and then the Olaf that has found so much success into the Gnar. 3 solo kills against the Gnar. and it just hasn't meant anything.
I mean, let's not forget, part of the reason why Smash got so online so early was because Busio tried to affect the rest of the map with his roams. It wasn't successful. And just from the outset, D+ had such oppressive control. Nadar is so difficult to punish, even if you solo kill him. He's still going to be relevant in team fights later on. He spent so much of this game just hard farming.
Now we've got D+ closing in on the base of KC that is already in shambles. Yeah, trying to avoid these noxious blasts. He's doing a decent job, but he is Anivia. He can clear out waves quite comfortably. There is no Baron left to help with this push. And they are at least able to deal with these minions for the moment. Miasma goes down though. Yikes, not very happy about that one, as there is a pesky Nard just trying to knock down Nexus turrets here. And KC just kind of getting pulled around the map. The pressure is just not going away.
DK are doing what they've done so well all game, just playing it slow, suffocating KC, and not letting them have any avenue for an engage, play with the minions. The Tempered Fate, Busio is trying, but there's nothing there.
There's nothing there, and I mean, the super minions starting to hit these turrets. They're running out of time, they're running out of health. As another wave is coming through mid and top, and D+, worst case scenario, they back away and take Baron. Best case scenario, KC fumble the defense here, and they just lose the game right now.
Another inhibitor poised to go down here. The rest of KC are starting to mount a little bit of an attack. Showmaker fighting against Kalist. The ulti's interrupted from Yike though, and now Yehu has to flash out of the way. D+ always there to have the back of their mid laner, and now Shiu is on Nexus turrets. Light bindings are flying through. Smash is just hitting the structures, and Kana might be CC immune, but he is not death immune. And now Shiu's getting his revenge. Another final spark here from Korea, and I think that might have been the final one here in game number 2 for KC. As D+ Kia, they demand a reverse sweep out of the hometown heroes if they are ever going to win this series.
This is domination from the 5th place team of the LCK. D+ could not get out of. They struggled to make sure they were out of Rise Group last year, but they are looking so much better this year around, and EWC has been their tournament, and Smash seems to be the man of EWC 2026.
And I'm so sorry for completely messing you up there, Wolf, because you said 5th place in the LCK. I remember a team that managed to win the World Championship coming from 5th place, and D+ Kia poised to do the same thing here at EWC. But now it is time to throw it over to Digon to let us know what they thought about this game.
Thank you very much, guys, and that is correct. I want to quantify how unique this is for D+ Kia. Yes, they have Showmaker. Yes, their players have been stepping up, but it has been such a long time since we've seen them firing at full form when it mattered the most, and now they're one game away from achieving that potential here. It is 2-0 D+ Kia over Karmine Corp.
Honestly, I've had this feeling through this tournament, and it's just really coming to the surface now. Who is this team? Because even when D+ Kia was having great results, they never really showed this level of control. And even when Shiu was getting, solo killed, unfortunately, in this game, it felt like the momentum was always in D+'s favor.
I mean, for me, biggest difference between like earlier the split of DK and now is that they have like specific idea coming into the draft. I remember CVMax getting flamed about like his weird draft, but I think it finally, the outcome is here. I think the theme that they have right now is just so much clearer than Karmine Corp has. I feel like they have the early game, they have the control, but I feel like the connection between the picks are not working out for Karmine Corp especially. Like you have Nafiri, but what is Anivia doing with it, So I feel like all the picks that they have is like, yes, we have to pick away from DK, but this is not the one that we wanted.
I feel like it was primarily KC here just trying to pick anything that's comfortable for them, right? We've seen the Olaf work into the Narp multiple times. The first 3 picks were the exact same 3 picks they picked versus T1 on their way to the reverse sweep yesterday, so it worked to boost their comfort, and they tried to do the exact same thing here. I feel like the big difference, the Smash and Career have been shutting down Kalist and Busio over and over again.
I know we've seen so much Caitlyn Bard, but then pulling out the old school Lux here, the Caitlyn Lux bot lane with so much kill pressure, and then Career just having himself such a fantastic game. The snipes, the stopping of recalls, he played so well as we take a look at some of the highlights here from that last one, starting over at the Herald.
That was my favorite thing that DK did here, because I felt like they said it in the cast as well. There's been so much patience on this DK roster. You see Lucid engages because she sees Olaf down bot lane. The second the TP gets channeled, they've used everything so make it flashes forward. They pull off of the Rift Herald knowing that Olaf is there. She shows up as a mini now. What do? They focus then on that mid lane whilst Career is peeking into the Herald, and after they've taken that mid lane tower, they see that Kalist is now taking that wave. They've got numbers advantage and they move back in.
And I'm telling you, regular season D+, they don't even see the TP coming in. They're just fighting. They're going in. There's no hesitation. So the level of control and patience, as you said, just a whole nother level from what we saw from them domestically in the season so far.
Yeah, again, it has been such a learning journey here for D+ Kia, not only this year, but over the last several years, adding different pieces, adding Lucid 2 years ago as the Rookie of the Year, then adding Shiwu last year as the Rookie of the Year. Now those rookies down on the bottom side of the map, they knew who they were building around in Showmaker, a proven world champion in his own right, but then slowly having to have all those growing pains throughout. As we take a look at one more highlight on the top side of the map, 26 minutes in.
And this is a situation where Casey trying to be proactive, trying to make a play happen. But I think D+ just responding really well to it. And despite the fact that she was being put really far behind, just completely bullies Yike out of the position. And as the team moves in, I think the Petrifying Gaze, fantastic on a Yike. They know the TP's coming in, but they just managed to deal with all the threats in such a controlled manner.
And the disconnection between the common core players, your Ezreal, AD carry, Kalist is in the mid lane, but some of the players are committing, TPing in, so this is not gonna work. DK is just having free kills here, like collecting all the golds on the top side, while them having the same plan, while having them being on the same patch here.
Yeah, and then finally, if there is going to be a bright spot, someone that's going to bring back Carmine Corp and revive this crowd here at the Porte de Versailles Expo Center, it's going to be the man in the top lane, in Kana, who has played so great, not only throughout today, not only throughout this tournament, but this year.
Yeah, it's been a lot of good for D+. D+ are 2-0 up in the series, but Connor did his best in this game to make things happen, and as we face the prospect of a reverse sweep being needed for KC to win this series, Connor has been showing up in this game, and they're really relying on him. I think the rest of the team needs to step up, but if they can enable that top laner, who's able to find these great solo kills, that he's definitely a point of the map that can give them pressure and carry.
I feel like when we're talking about enabling, there has been a guy who's unfortunately been kind of invisible on the Rift so far, and one of my favorite players on KC, and that has been Yike. I feel like he found an incredible 3-man knockup on the Wukong versus T1, constantly with a goal deficit to turn the game around and win it for them. I feel like I'm looking at the Wukong, I'm looking at the Shinzo, I'm looking even at the Kha'Zix, which is his signature pick, to try and get that confidence back, to try and turn it around for KC.
Well, you're the one that called out the KC upset over T1.
Didn't he say 3-0?
He did say 3-0, so he might be correct, just for the wrong team here. Who do you need to step up here for KC?
I think it's Yehu, because I feel like Showmaker is just having so much free time in the mid lane, having so much momentum. I think Yehu having pressure into that matchup is going to help KC into the game 3.
There is always a fantastic environment here at the Esports World Cup, and we have cosplayers standing by right now with Ginny. Right after this, you're watching EWC 2026.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play. Play is in our DNA.
We got some of the most incredible cosplays that I have ever seen.
It becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City.
Amelia, I've been cosplaying for 16 years. I wanted to cosplay, feel myself in her, and I also wanted to have an easy props to, for example, pass to people, visitors, to pose with it. So have something nice to interact with people.
Hi, I'm Enzaeru and I cosplay today Vi from Arcane. And why I choose this character is because it's my main since more than 10 years. So actually that's the perfect shot for me.
Hi, my name is Kumi. I'm a French cosplayer and I'm currently cosplaying Zaya because obviously she is one of my favorite main. And I just had a little bit of bandage that I did myself to just make it high up, and that's it.
Hello, my name is Biol. I cosplay Yone from League of Legends because I love the champ, I love his design, and to play him in LoL.
Hi, I'm Paku and I cosplay Seraphine. It took me 1 month to create the costume, and then I had a crush on this character when she was released.
Hi, I'm Kiana, ruler of the land. You can't really copy perfection, but I guess I can manage.
Hello, my name is Lynn and I choose Ares Star Guardian because it's a character from Ionia and I'm Chinese. Also, this skin in particular was gifted to me by one of my friends, so it was very dear to me.
Hi, about our cosplay. So basically, we love way too much Jinx and Echo, and that's the motivation of our cosplay, and also the love of LoL, the love of Arcane. That's very important.
All right, thank you guys so much for all of that. That's it from us over here. I hope you guys enjoyed the cosplays just as much as I did.
And that's the motivation. Arcane, and that's very important.
All right, thank you guys so much for all of that. That's it from us over here. I hope you guys enjoyed the
I'm here with Davinci,
Delici.
Da Vinci,
Delici.
whatever that
The
may
best
be.
that suits you. Yeah.
Most important thing is you have a fantasy team on the app.
Yes, exactly. I did my fantasy team.
Can you run me through that?
Yeah, of course. Let us start with the AD carry. I went with Ruler as a classic one. Ruler never disappoints.
That's fair.
Yeah. And then I went for Kyle for support. It was a bit of a budget pick.
Yeah,
I tried to save some money, you know. I tried to save money for my GOAT, but I will tell you who is it. I give it a surprise.
Okay.
All right. Now I went for top lane Kana. Strong pick, as always. He did a great tournament. Yike. A bit of Kenzie owning, you know.
We're fanboying a bit now. Yeah.
Casey fanboy. And now, the last for the best, always. Chovy the GOAT.
Okay, you're trolling. You were completely broke. You had no funds left. That would obviously be Faker, but that's fine.
Faker, yeah. Faker is too expensive, to be honest, because he's really the GOAT.
True.
You know?
Facts.
Let's keep it on Chovy, you know?
Yeah, and now, most important thing, you probably had a blast doing this.
Yeah, that was super fun, to be honest. I never expected that it would be like this a good team for my pick, but I think that I managed to do quite good in this tournament. And yeah, being a KC fanboy was good too, you know, since we are in the final, and hopefully we're gonna win today too. So yeah.
Yeah, what a blast.
Yeah, that was super fun, to be honest. I never expected. Being a KC fanboy was good too, you know, since we are in the
근데 이긴 거 같아. 이제 잡았어. 잘해봐 나 없어.
딜을 볼래?
야나 포켓 나필이 노공이야. 야 올라프 풀. 애니비아 만화 없어서 해도 돼. 애니비아 만화 없어. 해.
위에.
나 좋아. 해도 돼. 나필이 노공이 애니비아 만화 없어. 올라프. 혼자. 끝.
나이스. 이렇게
잘해봐.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EWC 2026. It's the grand final. D+ Kia on the precipice of doing what we would have thought would be the inconceivable. But there is one thing even more unlikely. One thing even more ridiculous.
I think I know the answer.
What is it, Wolf?
A reverse sweep from KC?
That's the one!
On stage in Paris?
This wasn't a question and answer section. However, I'm really glad that you knew the answer.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to raise my hand.
It is still on the table. It is still on the table. KC gonna have to dig so deep, though, to figure that one out because Jack Spectra, this has been a rough one so far.
Yeah, I'm brought back, though, to MSI 2026. Top Esports versus G2.
You didn't have to go that far back. That was like last week.
That was, yeah, a few weeks ago. Top Esports versus G2. They were dominating them in the early game, and they won both game 1 and 2, and it felt like it was going to be a 3-0. It felt like EU's hopes and dreams were shattered. And then they got reverse swept.
True.
Look, it has happened before. We have seen it before. We haven't seen it at an EWC League of Legends finals yet. Our third one maybe could be the charm. I do want to point out that KC actually went for first pick and not second pick, or no, for a potential counter pick for Kana going into this one, so changing up the style a little bit. I'm curious to see what their game plan is going to be. The later you go in Fearless, sometimes that counter pick can really, really matter. Well, there's still so many strong picks available. If a curveball's thrown in the initial ban phase, maybe they've got a strategy prepared here.
I just feel like the most important thing in this series are the matchups, because we've seen now if DK have winning matchups, they just run away with the game. They don't let you scramble with them. They don't want to tango. They don't want to get in the mud. What we saw in the T1 KC series was T1 was always willing to fight back whenever KC went for a play, but DK, they've been very, very patient, very, very disciplined. So I think if KC again draft losing lanes, if they're playing into a really strong bot lane, strong mid lane, strong top lane, then DK are just going to 3-0 this game, this series.
Well, we'll see what happens as we are into Champion Select for game number 3. The Orianna and the Vi both taken away here from KC. And as far as D+ is concerned, they're not allowed to play the Syndra, Poppy, and the Ambessa. It's weird that I said it like that because no one can play any of the champions, but there are the decisions that were made from either team.
Two
and
picks
Jace taken away as well.
that I think are potentially going to come up big in this game are the Talia and the Ryze that we haven't seen yet with so many of these mages removed. And it's certainly picks that we often see take over the map, as we will see Kana's Rumble first picked here with that first pick. We've seen this a lot in game 3s of this tournament.
Yeah, I think if you can force Shiwu now onto a tank and having Kana on the Rumble, being able to constantly push that tank in and just be stronger in the skirmishes, it speaks really nicely for KC's early game, which seems like they've kind of caught on. We need to have strong winning lanes if we are to come back in this series and make it a reverse sweep, but there's not many things that beat this Ryze now with how many mid laners are outside of the pool.
So Ryze going to be locked in. Is it like you could go Pantheon alongside this as well?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The amount of global pressure. But the Nocturne is also up and available for what feels like the first time in the last few days. Still, it's going to be Cassante. This has been an answer in the LCK, especially into the Rumble. But like you were saying, doesn't necessarily have push in the lane.
Yeah, a little bit slower, but definitely setting up a front to back and a late game composition. So the answer is, like, I don't know if you necessarily want Pantheon here as Yike in this draft.
I think maybe you want the Wukong instead. The only thing is Wukong's early game clear and early game skirmishing power isn't the best. But we saw Yike on this Wukong yesterday was so key in their victory. I mean, this was their exact comp in last game, or the last game yesterday against T1, where they had the Wukong and the Annie that found some clutch engages to be able to come back against T1.
The scariest thing is the lack of power in the early game. It means that Kalista and Busio really need a stable bottom lane, otherwise they may just simply find themselves dove, and Yike might be stuck down there trying to patch that hole.
I think Lucian is a big pick for Kalista's game. Kalist could be another one. Or Kalista. Kalist.
Kalista for Kalist?
Kalista for Kalist. The only thing with Kalista is that it's very volatile. All it takes is one play to go wrong, and it can be incredibly scary. You also still have the potential of a Talia bot lane for Smash, in which case I would hate to play Kalista into that. So I think that could be something that KC looked to target.
I think as well, Xayah Rakan is an option. I mean, Rakan, Annie, Wukong, this is something that we've seen in the LCK, especially in our Ryze group matches last year, was to keep it simple composition. The problem is you're playing into the Kings of the Rise group, which is D+ Kia down there as well. So a dangerous prospect, but Rakan paired alongside the Wukong and the Annie is very, very scary.
Interesting that they're the ones who banned the Lucian away, because I'm kind of with Jack Spectre on this one in terms of strong lanes they could play. Maybe they're looking for the Kalista. Ultimately, in the end, they really just need to have a lane that wins.
I think maybe they're going for the Sai Rakan. Even though they'll probably lose slightly in the early game, I think the Rakan Wukong, as you say, Atlas, it's just, like, it's so easy to play.
What
right?
about something like a Misfortune Rel, I suppose, could also work down there? It's, again, a little bit dated, but it certainly could still be strong. A Seraphine ban.
Maybe they were worried about the Ashe Seraphine. That's also a really strong early game and really nicely scaling with the Wukong. I'm curious to see what DK wants to go for. They banned the Varus as well, so they're kind of trying to target the strong champions for KC.
Yeah, obviously KC's going to show their hand first, so D+ will have the ability to react here.
And I wonder whether it's like, if you see the Xayah locked in, do you pick away the Rakan? I think that could be really dangerous for D+, just because Rakan into the Wukong and the Rumble can be so hard to play. So we are going to see D+ locking in their first half of the bottom lane. And it's a Nico for Korea. Champion that he's found a lot of success on, but this could be very difficult to pilot against what we've already seen here from KC in this draft.
But they're doubling down. DK won't have a winning matchup no matter what, unless they go for the Rakan. Seems like a last-minute pivot.
Rakan is so good with the Wukong.
I was thinking, like, Rakan is super, super good, but now...
It feels like denial rather than anything else, though, right?
Exactly. The only thing now is KC should, on paper, be pretty easily able to find a winning lane, because Rakan, he can survive the lane quite easily with the healing on his Q and how safe he is with all the mobility, but he's not going to be winning into most matchups.
I'm pretty okay with the Misfortune lane here, but they want to split the Xayah, and I think they think the Xayah is so safe into what they're running here, but I think they have so many tools that Xayah's ult is only one way to escape. They lock it in anyways.
So is it going to be the Xayah Nautilus that we've seen as being the most popular?
Or Rel? I like Rel a lot, because then you have kind of the wombo combo.
A lot of circles.
Yeah, a lot
Leona,
of circles.
maybe a consideration to the Rakan's always a good matchup there.
It's a lot of Merc Treads value, though, with Leona, Annie, and Rumble. I like the Rel a lot here for KC. And I like the Xayah. The Xayah ulti doesn't have crazy value, but DK's comp is very short range, which allows her feathers to have so much value if she can stack those up. We'll see what DK goes for last. I think just a hyper carry for Smash to match up into this, because it should just be kind of a stable, normal lane. The Sivir or the Seri I would expect here.
Sivir's so good here. Can spell shield so much. Obviously not great at the Wukong's ultimate, but if you know the Annie's trying to set up a Q stun in a team fight, can spell shield that. And the wave clear is the main thing for me. You're going to be able to push so hard.
You certainly can, but ladies and gentlemen, we have Lou standing alongside with the KC fans.
Yeah, indeed, it's a bit cold here now in Paris. The arena was on fire at the beginning of the series as I'm standing by with some KC fans. Je disais, la clim qui est un petit peu forte ici à Paris, donc je suis avec vous pour essayer de réchauffer un petit peu l'ambiance. Moi déjà, je voulais te demander pourquoi est-ce que tu penses que le river sweep est possible?
Parce que Kana et Caliste, ils n'abandonneront jamais.
Kana and Caliste won't ever give up. Moi, je voulais te demander pourquoi est-ce que tu continues d'y croire?
Parce qu'on n'a que 3 games à gagner depuis le début. Là encore, on a 3 games à gagner. Yahu va tout déchirer. On a confiance en Carmine. Et voilà, c'est tout. On va tout déchirer ce soir.
We only have 3 games to win and we can definitely make it. Et un petit avis peut-être sur le Rumble de Kana?
Je pense qu'il va réchauffer la salle aujourd'hui. Est-ce que vous êtes chaud?
So confident on the Rumble from Ghana. Et justement, j'allais vous demander peut-être, pour hype un petit peu les joueurs, les gars, ne me laissez pas flop. You ready? What's the color? What's the color? I said, what's the color? Let's go back to the game.
Thank you so much, Lou. Let's see whether the KC fans can at least get a game, right? They need to start this reverse sweep right now. I think this draft looking a little bit better, a little bit more winnable, perhaps, here in this game.
I'm feeling very cautiously optimistic here. I feel like this is the best draft they've had thus far.
I would
and
agree.
It feels like a comp where it should be really hard for DK to show that laning prowess that they showed in game number 1 and 2. So we can actually get to see some late game team fights that is on equal footing where KC can show their mechanical prowess.
And it is just a composition that's simple to execute, as Atlas mentioned earlier in the draft. And sometimes, you know, I'm not trying to say that KC can't handle complex drafts, but when you're down 0-2, your mental's in the gutter a little bit.
Yeah.
You get that easy comp, you get back on the right footing, you have that coordination come back. That's how you could potentially start a reverse sweep. So I'm with you guys. I like this draft a lot, but it's not by any means a hard winning draft. I think it's a very close one here, but the closest so far.
Yeah, I agree, Wolf. I will say, though, I think it's kind of a hard game for Smash. Because the Sivir spell shield, realistically, it's only really good against Yehu on the Annie. Into Rel, if you get flash combo, the spell shield's not going to do anything. If you get flash ulted by Yike on the Wukong, the spell shield's not going to do anything. If you get Equalizer from Kana, the spell shield's also not going to help you out much. So I feel like if they're able to find good angles onto him, he's so short range, they have a lot to make this simple comp work.
They do have on the hunt, though, and I do think that the extra movement speed, especially for a champion like Ryze, for example, getting into a position in order to get these prisons down and take out these KC members one after the other can be devastating. And Xiu, on the Cassante, being able to separate a single target and sort of ruin this wombo combo that KC has also could be instrumental. I think there are a lot of things that DK can use, but you're like, I agree with what you're saying. I think it is narrow. I think it is more difficult for DK to find the angles in this one. And they're going to have to use the extra momentum that they've picked up from these first couple of games in order to get them over the line.
Do you guys think we'll see Showmaker take Ghost in this game on the Rise? Or do you think he'll take TP? I think it's a really tough call. With the rotational power we've seen from D+ today, teleport, obviously a higher value around the map, but the Ghost into this comp feels so good. But you have the Sivir, you've got both the mobility to get away, but also to chase down and secure those kills. It's a really tough call, I'd say.
I think Ghost is not bad. I think he has two good options. And it's also it's a nice Rise game to play with how much, like both team comps are very short range. So that's nice for all the carries involved, because all the carries are short range. So it really will come down to execution and how both team comps play out.
Well, let's see how it goes as, ladies and gentlemen, match point for D+ Kia. KC, the beginnings of a reverse sweep have to start here. There is no other option. Their backs are against the wall. A nice looking composition though as we get onto the rift for this game number 3.
And I feel like with this comp, we can finally see Yike and Busio really linking up and making plays happen together. They both can start the play on their own and have the other one follow up, which allows them to be much more creative in how they play it, while before it felt like it was just Busio needing to make a miracle happen with the Bard ultimate. It's now a lot more equalized as we get to see some early laning phase between KC here. Busio just wants to all in.
Yeah, there's the crash down. Is avoided by Smash quite nicely as the ricochets do dance through. There's the heal out from both of our supports. Korea needing to hit these Gleaming Quills. Yeah, I think that is the way you're going to play this one.
Exactly. You're going to need to hit those to get the sustain needed to make these favorable trades, but still already pretty favorable for them at this level 1. Now have control of the wave.
Yeah, early laning phase, Sivir pushes faster than the Xayah, and with the sustain and the range from Rakan, you can get that push. And the worry I have is I feel like DK has shown such good laning phase in this best of 5, and even a small lane lead, they've been able to transition that into making the game pretty much unplayable for KC. So we need KC to not give them that avenue, not make that mistake, because if DK get it, they will not give you the comeback.
Yeah, the difference maker could be Yike here, rushing towards that level 6 to get that Cyclone. We saw just how pivotal he was in their previous matchup. An option here for KC to play around, but they do need to buy some time in order to let the Wukong reach that point. As on the other side, it's Lucid on his Xin Zhao. He's been very comfortable on this pick for a very long time. Shove is looking good here towards the bottom side for DK, but Yehu is having such a good time on this Annie in the mid lane.
You can see the sustain gap on bot lane. The Gleaming Quills are landing from career, and Smash is staying full HP. Okalis's half used both of his potions as Yehu is getting some good trades. And Kana, while he's losing push in the early laning phase, eventually he will start to get pushed, but it's level 3 on bot lane.
Yeah, there's a Shattering Strike. Good crashdown does connect onto Career, who battle dances his way out of the way. Bliss does get that feather pull, but it's not too much. And it's going to be another one trade here for D+Kia.
Lucid's down here, and obviously they have a lot of prio, and it's a Wukong early. They're going to need Annie's help. Yehu comes over here if they want to control the Scuttle Crab.
Yike has Smite though. Lucid used his, so he can smite the crab and get away. Showmaker also chose to invest the TP there, but Callista's really chunked.
Yeah, this is a lot of damage. Grand Entrance gets the flash out from this Xayah. Not a lot of value of that pullback as well, as now Lucid wants to get on in here. There is the thumbs up once again. It hasn't exactly been a good luck charm here for the Xayah as he throws down the feathers and just dies. First blood over to Lucid here in the bottom lane.
And DK's laning has just been superior in this best of 5. All they need is a slight lead and they will run away with the game. Busio will be getting dove. Callista's already dead. It's a disaster for KC.
And this is not the start of the reverse sweep that you were looking for. It's a disaster in the bottom lane. 2 kills early on over to Lucid. He's up 600 gold. Sure, Showmaker's TP wasn't the greatest, wasn't super high value, but they didn't even need him. And all they got, all they walked away with was the Scuttle Crab.
They at least got the Scuttle Crab, though. That's pretty cool. On the top side of the map as well, Canna is getting a little bit of a shove in, but you can see Shiu is still actually ahead in farm by just a little bit. Not too bad for this Cassante, who is looking a little worse for wear otherwise. In the mid lane, though, it is still Yehu with a bit of a shove advantage, but the CS has not really mimicked what we've been seeing in that laning phase. And so 1,000 gold is going to be the resulting advantage here for D+Kia.
And credit where credit is due. I mean, Smash has been so damn good all this tournament, and he's showing the laning prowess alongside Career. They have a slight winning lane, and that's all they need to take down Kalist and now build up such a big gold lead. Ashiwu now getting some really good trades on Kana here.
Yeah, Kana just teleported back, so this is not optimal.
The wave's in a terrible spot. He can't teleport anywhere else, really, but Shiu's on top of his teleport ward, and he just loses all of his health, and because he doesn't have TP, if he's forced to back here, it's after his Yehu!
Rune Prison goes down. Lucid does get the win, becomes landing, but does not manage to catch out the Annie before she gets underneath the turret.
And this pre-6 Wukong just isn't able to do a whole lot. Yike's getting pushed out of his own jungle now. Here's the Realm Warp.
Yeah, Showmaker getting himself into position as Yike gonna have to get out. That is a little bit of a cute play, but it does not catch Lucid out. Showmaker going to pick up the 3rd kill for D+Kia.
DK have full control of the map. They utilize Showmaker's prio. Yike wants to try to bait them a little bit. Is not willing to flash immediately, and he ends up dying for it. Lucid trades the flash. And KC, it just feels suffocating. It feels like they're not able to find any angle as DK shuts the door again and again and again.
It's just understanding of pressure and control, right? You know, they push the Annie out, and they're like, well, guess there's a Wukong in here, doesn't have Cyclone. And he avoids the knockup. Where is he gonna go? Showmaker gets the root. He is just locked up, forced to flash the wall, and Lucid is there. Showmaker picks up the kill. So you got 2 kills on this in. Now the Rise is starting to get online.
I also think they saw the Warrior Trickster go on cooldown. So they were never actually tricked out of position. You could see like there was no hesitation. Like Lucid was in there with that audacious charge, and as soon as the Wukong was in range, it's a little bit unfortunate that Yike was on vision when he did press that button. Now Shiu pushing Kana away, does have that Negatron cloak now. It's only going to get worse as he builds towards that Koenig Rooker as item number 1 for this Cassante. Yehu does find the stun. Tibbers is out here being annoying as Busio spotting Career. Now Smash with the on the hunt, looking to chase down Kalist, moving back towards his turret, but these feathers do go down. Oh, the boomerang comes back, and Kalist is just dead. Career also able to battle dance his way out of danger. Oh my goodness, DK is just kind of messing with him now.
And Kalist was so close to level 6. He needed 1 more minion, but that was all Smash needed to all in. Doesn't get hit by nearly enough feathers, and he just takes down Kalist, and the game is starting to feel over for KC.
He knows Kalist doesn't have any way to get out of here either. You know, he doesn't have flash, so he's just stuck. All he can do is try to kite back, but he just doesn't have the numbers, just frankly. It's just simply 2 AD carries hitting each other and Smash is the stronger one.
Yeah, and also, he just kites to the side, right? All of these feathers that were landing on the ground, nothing that Kalist could do. And what you need in that moment is the flash, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't have that flash up and available to reposition those feathers and make the outplay.
It's feeling dire for KC. There's no other way to put it. I feel like we're starting to see the fight go out in them. They're not able to play the matchups how they would want to. This bot lane, it should be stable. It should be a chill matchup.
Not looking very chill.
It's only Kana who's got the control. His only Kana is the lead. It's a 14 goal lead. It's something wrong. But D+ are just in so much control of the map, and they have been able to keep. I mean, all 3 games will look like this when they get a little bit of control. They turn it into a ton of control. Now Yike pushed away again on this Gromp. It's rinse and repeat. This is where Lucid started his career, with Prio in challengers.
Yeah, in the enemy jungle. That's where he started his career. Well, you're exactly right.
Like the Elise in the past, he would just say, all right, well, my bottom lane's pushing. I'm in your jungle, and I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to dive you. This is his bread and butter.
And he was already stealing away the blue buff. He didn't need to also take the Gromp.
What about taking the bot duo?
Well, that's what they're looking for now. Let's see where the Lucid can find the angle. And Busio, he's going to be his first target.
Here comes Showmaker.
Comes in. There is the Realm Warp that you were talking about. Connects the cube. It doesn't get too much more, but the Ghost has to be invested from Kalist. And this entire time, minions are just dying underneath turrets. There's just not a whole lot that can be gained here from this bottom lane.
Get the grubs, I guess, on the cross map. What else can you really get? What else can you really do in this game? A little bit of a push here for Yehu as well. Trying to get some plate gold back while Showmaker Realm Warp's over. He has a little bit of extra free time here. It is a dominant early game for D+ Kia.
Yeah, Kalist is bleeding. At least they get the 3 grubs, but it's not the cross map that you were looking for. It's 4 kills for DK, full control of every lane. Shiwu getting that 14 gold lead back.
This is not the D+ gear I was expecting to see this tournament. And even after they managed to get the upset over BLG, I was like, well, it's D+, you know, consistency doesn't really happen. This has been pure consistency throughout this series so far.
And DK just looked a class above KC today.
But KC looked a class above T1. They've looked a class above so many teams that they shouldn't have. AGAL just crumbled at the hands of this team. And it felt to me like this was going to be a little bit more of a back and forth, but as we've seen so far, D+ Kia just absolute dominance.
And it's a game that leaves you a little speechless, I think, if you are a KC fan, because I think many KC fans didn't expect them to beat T1. We got hyped by it, looked into the finals thinking, well, maybe lightning strikes twice. But after game 2, it felt like everything was just down to the wire, down to one more chance, one more desperate game. And now you're 2K gold behind 10.5 minutes, and your bottom lane's in tatters. Feels like there's no hope left. This arena is silent. Yike is pushed again off the Gromp 3 times in a row.
Oh no, Shu looking for the all-out here as he pulls Canner away. Can Canner actually escape? That is the question, or does he need to as he equalizes a decent spot? With the flash to follow there, gets the flash out of Canner, and he will be able to make it out alive. No flashes, no ultimates up and available for our top laners now.
Flash for flash on top. I think it favors Shiu. Now they can look to dive Kana more easily. The problem is, due to how bot lane is going, it's so easy for DK to just push mid, have Showmaker roam, and then Kalist is continuously losing minions. The gold lead hasn't ballooned too much though. He was down 500 gold 5 minutes ago, and the fact that that has stayed at only 500 gold, it is some positive
silver
news.
lining.
Silver lining.
It's some strong copium, yeah. I want it to, I want more games. I want this to be a better series.
I mean, when I came into today, I thought, okay, maybe it's like 60-40 for DK.
I didn't think we get a 3-0. I didn't think that was, like, I would have thought any other scoreline on either side. I just thought no matter what, even if KC popped off with the French crowd there, they were the ones up 2-0. I thought there's no way the series is 3-0. And we're looking at it right now. It's not over. But we need something to change here. There's so much wave clear for D+ to control the map too with Ryze and Sivir. You're always going to be first on the play. You're always going to be first on the objective.
And it empowers Lucid so much as well, right? He's got his Titanic Hydra now. He will be evaporating the jungle over and over again. And it means that that lead that he's put together already is only going to compound, because now he can get into Yikes jungle and put him further and further behind. There's a Malignance done. There is a Trinity Force here for this Wukong, who has found level 8. So the Cyclone Tibbers combo could be coming in here for KC, but they're going to need to get that one done as quickly as possible. Find themselves an angle to fight for something here in this game.
It feels like DK, they're just building the snowball, and KC either need to smash the snowball, make them stumble,
melt it.
You can melt it, yeah.
I mean, he's got so much mid control. He's trying to decide, do we want to make a play on the Rumble? Do we want to make a play on the bottom lane with my Realm Warp? So much control. Trying to get information on where Yike is to make that right call, to be able to defend anything he wants to set up with this Cyclone. I think we've even seen a Cyclone in this game.
Oh dear, Lucio now in so much trouble, does crash away from the situation, but Showmaker, he is closing in. There are 3 people around him. There's the equalizer from Canna. Maybe an opportunity for KC as somehow Smash is just solo killed on the other side of the map, and now both AD carries are dead. Korea not finding the angle here though, and now Lucid gonna need to try and get this fight going in his direction. And in fact, he kind of is.
Bucio.
There's the Magnet Storm from Bucio though. Wind doesn't become blinding. It is going to be Bucio falling, but he'll take so much more for the trouble. And KC will come alive.
KC, they finally smashed the snowball from DK that they were slowly building up. And it's so much of it came from Kalis somehow finding the 1v1 against Smash.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look at that replay for sure. And it's Bucio closes the door on the fight after initially being the one who was caught. So some serious redemption there, but it's all about Kalis. If Smash is alive for that skirmish, there's not a prayer for KC to win it. Bliss pulls it
just
off.
Walking into Yike's jungle, trying to scare him away. Neither top laner wants to be in top here.
Yeah, Shiu just kind of on walkabout at the moment, and let's have a look at how this one all happened.
Maybe he gets the... No, he just wins the 1v1. Auto for auto.
Ulti. Spell shield on the ulti, but just has the damage.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation there from Smash. Unfortunately, missing that initial boomerang really was problematic.
Lucio is the initial one who's caught here, but he has Yike to back him up, and they're being sandwiched with the positioning. Okay, we have a fight live.
Yeah, that is, yeah, Shiu is just looking for an angle, and he does find it. Just solo kill on a roaming Bucio.
Shiu's the secondary jungler in this game, I suppose.
Yeah, we've got River Cassante. I've heard of River Shen, haven't heard of River Cassante before, but that is looking a little dangerous.
Smash is getting the mid tower as well. Still a big lead for DK, and they're still remaining in control of this game as they're going to continue now pushing in. They're getting bot tower, they're getting mid tower, picking up a lot of the standing gold. And
That's
should
gonna
be
first turret going over to Showmaker here as well. Nothing Canna can really do. And another one going to fall in that mid lane, you have to think, in a couple of moments as well. As Yahoo here towards the top side, going to try and push Shiu away. Doesn't have the all out at the moment, as he used that to kill Bucio just earlier on. Look at this, just a tiny bit of health left on this turret and is basically dead to rights. And the Rift Herald has now spawned. Feels like that little bit of momentum that we saw shift away from D+ here kind of being regained as we've hit the neutral once again.
It just feels like KC never get prio. They don't get prio on mid, they're not getting prio on top, they're getting pushed in on bot. And that's been the story of this series. Every single game, especially after the 15-minute mark, DK are just pushing them in every single lane, not allowing them to make any play happen or make any point of pressure.
Yeah, it's just constantly them setting up plays by the fact that they have that priority in the lanes. It means that KC has to play defensively. They did a great job of it previously, as Lucio's going to look for a bit of an angle here.
Smash is base. They can look to rush the... Oh, they're keeping...
Shiu is back to the river once again. He got annoyed he was in the bottom lane. There's the Pathmaker, all out, back up and available in 5 seconds time as the feathers get pulled back. See Shiu still wanting to do battle here as we're having a look at the top side of the map a little bit as well, as the Annie and Ryze are still fighting one another. And D+ will be able to push them away from Shelly.
That Cassante is absurdly tanky. He just TP'd into 4 members and he did more damage to Bucio than he took himself.
And if his ult was up, it was like Atlas mentioned, was not quite there. He could have actually taken Bucio through the wall there.
Yeah.
As Yahoo used his ultimate to push Showmaker back, Showmaker's going to have to TP back into this fight if there's going to be a late contest here. But without the Tibber stun, I don't think that KC should actually commit further, and that's going to be Lucid picking this one up. Because the Cassante is so tanky, he actually went for the Kanavi build here, with the Hydra, so he does so much damage and gets on top of any of these squishy targets. KC always going to have to respect this Xin that's got the largest gold lead in the game right now with the early double he picked up.
Yeah, such a good win more build out from the Xin Zhao, who's clear of the jungle, has never been really the fastest.
Yeah, who needs help?
This one, and that is the focus on this turret as the teleport is coming through. It's a little bit of a slow one here as Kana will show up, gets the big old shield though. Xiu just tanking this one up. Yehu is just dead before he can really do anything, and Shelly takes down the turret, and now Xiu's flashing forward, looking to get on top of Kalist. That is going to be the Realm Warp in, and the quickness picks him up. Smash takes him down, and now KC's bodies are littering the floor of this top lane. Shelly gets another charge. Busio and Kana trying to get out of there, but Lucid will not let them escape. That's another kill going over to the Xin Zhao. And D+ here, yes, there might have been a little fight there, the little hiccup earlier on, but now it's looking all business for them here on the Rift.
And what do? You know, you got a TP to save him, but if you commit the TPs, you commit the fight, and D+ are faster on the rotation, which they are, and the turret is this low, it's just not going to work out as Yehu is just caught in this desperate situation. There's a Rift Herald here. I think maybe the play should have been to just let him die, but you're so far behind. I think you're sick of giving D+ everything on the map, but they give them the turret, they give them multiple kills as a result. The Realm Warp to follow from Showmaker, and this feels like the beginning of the end of our EWC finals.
And both Kalist and Yehu there got CC chained before they got to use their ultimates. Both carries got shut down by DK without having the impact that they needed to try to make a comeback fight for a KC happen. And you can see the desperation, the
frustration.
The frustration.
It's almost like, you know, what am I supposed to do here, you know?
Yeah.
And with Featherstorm not really having an angle of all that effective use anyway.
This org
is so hard.
Has lost the finals last year to the LCK at first stand. They were one of the underdog stories there.
Yeah.
And here coming in, a lot of momentum. Not even getting the game they got over Honor Life Esports last year.
Oh, Korea looking for an angle here. Does just get on top of Yehu. Once again, down without the bear. And Yike trying to do some work here. The bear will fall. And a little bit of a lie there. The Tibbers was released out as now Equalizer goes down, but look at this, Kana is just limping towards this inner turret. Lucid making his way over, and at least KC will not lose any more than that, but the bounties are up. It's an 8,000 gold lead as we crest the 20-minute mark. D+ are looking for a clean sweep here in this final, as they'll grab Soul Point as well. As Mountain Soul comes up, and man, if Mountain Soul is ever picked up by this team, I mean, it's already looking pretty over. That's really over if they get the next break in 5 minutes time.
DK shut down all the hopes of KC, and especially now with the Nash respawning as well. It's so easy for them to just, they can kind of do whatever they want, to be honest. They can go into KC's jungle, they can take all of Yike's camps, they can stop KC from ever entering, they can start the Nash if they want, or they can just stall for the soul. There's really no wrong play for them. And KC needs to be the one to
trying to make some proactive play, but with no vision, with no control. D+ basically have map hacks so they can see everything you're doing. Look at the wards they have.
And Career can just walk up like this with no threat on him.
From the bottom lane to the top, there's just a line of wards halfway from Baron to the base of KC. There's no flanks, there's nothing allowed. And D+ can put their eyes on the Baron here at 21 minutes. They have so much damage. This Ryze doesn't have third item just yet. His rod isn't even completed, but they do just have enough, I think, at this point to start considering that Baron take. Yehu here trying to stay and look for a pick.
Yeah, he does throw the bear down, but Lucid just ignores it. There's the Crescent Guard, as now Yike feels like he's a little bit too far forward. The Realm Warp as Showmaker is going to join the fight as the Feathers get pulled back, and KC will be able to hold them at bay at least for the moment. Teleport up here from Yehu, but you can see Xiu, he's on this bottom side of the map. KC going to have to go back and deal with this Cassante as well. And it feels like KC just need to be too many places at once.
Really frustrating to play this one out. Can't find anything.
DK are just a step above. They've shown their skill in the laning phase and how well they were able to transfer it into the game, not giving any angle. We've barely even had a real team fight. We had like 2.5 over the course of this series because it's just been DK dominating.
It's never been a fair fight.
Yeah.
Never, ever a fair fight.
Apart from that weird moment where Kalist solo killed Smash.
That's true.
That was the best fight they got. and even that wasn't a huge win.
And now Smash is 2 levels up, or at least was a few moments ago, has his 3 items completed. And D+, I think it's Baron time. That's what they're considering, and Smash's Sivir just does so much damage. The rest of DK, they can just play defense.
Shiu has TP advantage. Kana can't even TP to this Baron if he wanted to. This is going to have to back normally. Here's the Cassante to hold the line and keep Yike out with Career and Showmaker on this flank. It's just gone.
It's going to have to be just onto Showmaker to try and escape. And the all-out brings Shiu in there. It's a decent position on this equalizer, though. The problem is the wallets are just way too heavy. Lucid dashing on forward as Kana gets into the base gate and tries to keep himself alive. There's a Crescent Guard, and Lucid it's going to have to be just onto Showmaker to try and escape. Says good night, Rumble.
Oh my God, he lives.
Busio going to be able to get out of there, but that top laner not going to survive. And D+ Kia with their new Baron are going to push towards the KC base.
Yesterday, after getting the upset win over T1, KC's players were on the floor with joy, but in this series, DK is putting their bodies on the floor in these team fights. It's not close. They can only look with their binoculars at the Baron pit. They're not able to get into touching distance, nowhere near in this fight. It's an amazing equalizer, and in a closer game state, maybe that could have been the difference maker, but not in this game 3 of the Grand Finals.
But the fact that Lucid 1v3s this with the Sunder Sky procs, gets the triumph.
What are you
gonna Unreal. He has GA now. He's soon to have a Mountain Soul.
KC, they can defend this inner turret at least for the moment. You were talking about a Wolf, 1 minute until that Mountain Soul is on the Rift. We'll see whether this game even lasts that long, as DK do want to utilize this Baron. 3.5 thousand gold already in that power play, as they are ahead 12,000, exactly right. It's so much more money here for DK, as in goes Lucid one more time. He's got GA, and so he can actually go down in this battle, as Smash is going to solo out Yeho on the backside of the fight. Showmaker takes out Yike here, as they're looking to break open the base. Busio trying to canter away, and Canner at least gets the dash cannon out, but Showmaker still going to be able to put him down. And D+ Kia on the precipice of sweeping the grand final here at EWC 2026.
There's nothing left in the tank. It was down for 25. Busio's looking for a flank angle here to try to buy some space.
He wants to pull the wave.
He's gonna pull it.
He's able to do so. 15 seconds on Yahoo, 10 on Yike.
Yeah, sidesteps the grand entrance quite nicely here. And at least D+ are forced to go back. But the problem is, they're forced to go back to a Mountain Soul, which is going to make this game even more impossible.
Showmaker's just having fun. Look at him on the player cam. He already knows he can see the trophy that he's got. Oh, he can see it in his mind's eye.
He's got his library card out, man. He's like, oh, I'm ready to borrow some books. Everyone's staying quite quiet in here.
Smash looks emotional. He's had an amazing tournament. A big front runner to pick up EWC MVP if they could close this one out. And Smash is level 16. He's so massive here that when Yehu shows up to try to look for the flank, he says thank you for the freebie. Just turns around onto Yehu and deletes him.
And Casey, they want to abuse the fact that DK was playing on all 3 lanes, but Lucid lives so long. He has the GA and buys so much time with the Sinsa ultimate as well. And then, as you say, Wolf, the fact that the Andy loses 1v1 to a Sivir, they're just having fun.
This is the most terrifying version of Showmaker, by the way, everyone. I don't know whether anyone else's memory goes back for 6 years to when he was the world champion, but that's what he was doing then as well. Just cackling on the stage while he's breaking the dreams of his opposition. Shiu now pushing in towards this top lane inhibitor turret. And in theory, KC's Nexus is still up, but it feels like it's only a matter of time.
They cleared this wave.
D+ Kia are just going to knock it down.
The super minions are crashing into the base in the mid lane, though. And now they're looking for a pick on the Busio.
Yeah, Busio going to get that Magnet Storm off. Yehu's still a little ways away. Busio going to fall, but they've taken down Kalista already. The clone is going to fall. Yike is going to get caught in the offside of the fight, though. Showmaker gives him another thumbs up. It's a triple and an ace here for D+ Kia, and they have done it just before they were celebrating that they made it to 5th place in the LCK, and now they are the EWC 2026 winners.
well-deserved celebration. The second that ace came across, they were high-fiving across the line, but I think they knew 20 minutes ago that this was gonna be their title, but they didn't mess it up. They didn't make any mistakes. They were oppressive in this series.
What an unbelievable performance from D+ Kia, your unlikely heroes, the third LCK team to lift this trophy, and they keep it in Korea. Now it is time to throw over to Ian on the stage.
This has just been an incredible journey full of surprise. And this has been such a dominant performance, and look what it means to each of the players. Before you have the opportunity that you deserve to raise the trophy high in the air, there's one last piece of business that we need to complete, and that is to crush the final key for League of Legends at the Esports World Cup. Gentlemen, it's part of the process, it's tough. One of you needs to step up to do this, but before you do, I think Lou is standing by just briefly before we wrap this up.
Yes, Ian, I am with some DK fans real quick. What do you want to tell your champion? DK! DK! Yeah, they're ready for that crush, Ian.
The time has come. The brutality of EWC in full effect as Korea steps forward here to crush the key. Carmine Corp's key will be crushed in front of their adoring fans. A harsh result, but such a dominant performance from DK. In front of this sold-out crowd at the STC Arena, there's only one thing left to do, and that is lift the trophy that is rightfully yours. Place the key inside of it and shoot it high in the air.
Mesdames et messieurs, D+ Kia sont vos grands gagnants de l'EWC League of Legends.
Your League of Legends and the Esports World Cup winners, D+ Kia!
Congratulations, évidemment, encore un grand bravo à D+ Kia qui sont vos grands gagnants de l'EWC Showmaker. Wow, Chukaeo, congratulations. Since 2021, you couldn't reach an international final. You come back here in Paris 5 years later and you lift the trophy. So what does it mean to you and what are you the proudest of in this journey?
일단 쇼메이커 선수 우승 정말 축하드리고요. 질문은 21년도 월드 이후에 5년 만에 다시 결승에 올라와서 우승을 다시 한번 들어올리시게 됐습니다. 지금까지 정말 고생이 많으셨을 텐데 지금까지 왔던 순간 그 여정 중에서 정말 가장 자랑스러운 그 면모가 무엇인지 궁금하고요. 순간이 무엇인지 궁금하고요. 그리고 기분이 어떠신지 궁금합니다.
일단 네, 이렇게 5년 만에 국제전 결승에 왔는데 우승해서 너무 행복하고 또 네, 오늘 지금 이 순간이 제일 자랑스러운 것 같습니다.
Yeah, I mean it's been 5 years since the international stage, and yeah, I mean I still feel so proud of myself. I'm just excited right now.
Just excited, we can get a lot of emotions, effectivement. Ça fait 5 ans que Showmaker n'a pas joué une finale internationale. Il arrive à Paris, il la gagne, et ce qui nous répond, c'est qu'il est trop content, il est débordé évidemment par ses émotions et il est effectivement soulagé de gagner ce trophée.
Maddox, come and join me over here just for a moment. Korea. Listen to this crowd. Hey, make some noise for Korea right now. This is being described as a Cinderella run, a fairy tale, but it was such a dominant grand final. When did this dream feel like a reality for you?
정말 많은 사람들이 꿈만 같은 정말 신데렐라 스토리 같은 얘기를 하는데 결승에서 정말 압도적으로 3대 0으로 이기시면서 정말 강력한 면모 보이셨습니다. 그럼 어느 순간에 우승이 가까워졌다라는 생각이 드셨는지 궁금합니다.
일단 초반 바텀 라인전에서 너무 잘 풀려가지고 그때 3세트인데 이렇게 잘 풀렸다 해가지고 심지어 자신 있는 챔을 잡았어가지고 이거 이 판 내가 캐리할 만하다 이겼다라고 생각했던 것 같습니다.
In the early phase of the bot lane, I initially realized that our first kills came out there in the game 3. Yeah, we were up 2-0. We had a great start. I'm in a champion that I'm confident of. That's what's the moment I felt I won.
Phenomenal. Paris, question. Who do you think is MVP?
It's time to announce our Sony MVP of the EWC League of Legends. Congratulations, Smash! You are the MVP! Congratulations for such an incredible performance. I want to know, how do you feel right now? How did you manage to reach that top level of the world in League of Legends?
지금 이렇게 정상에 서신 소감이 어떠신지 정말 궁금합니다.
일단 너무 행복하고요. 이렇게 제가 오늘 생일인데 이렇게 MVP까지 받고 너무 가장 기억에 남는 생일일 것 같습니다.
Yeah, I'm so excited right now. I'm so happy. And this is my birthday today in Korea. Yeah, this is phenomenal birthday.
Happy birthday!
Un joyeux anniversaire, puisque en Corée, c'est déjà son anniversaire. Alors, mesdames et messieurs, je vais vous proposer de chanter un joyeux anniversaire à Smash en français, tous ensemble. Joyeux anniversaire! Joyeux anniversaire! Congratulations!
Wow, talk about a birthday gift. 20 years old. Congratulations, Smash, once again, our Sony MVP. Now we've crushed the key, we've raised the trophy. There's only one thing left to do, Lou. Gentlemen, you need to go to the totem.
이제 토템으로 가셔서 이제 본인의 이름을 새길 시간입니다. 앞으로 가시죠.
Please take the trophy with you as well.
You can bring the trophy with you as well.
트로피 가져가시고요. 네.
It's gonna be the moment that T+ Kia writes their name on the wall in the history of the EWC. Mesdames et messieurs, encore une fois, faites du bruit!
And finally, potential realized here for T+ Kia in a dominant 3-0 fashion. The players on the Rift, the Blue Wall themselves, could not stop this young squad with their superstar veteran of getting it done and becoming the third ever winner at EWC of League of Legends.
I think there was a lot of doubt for this team, this organization coming into this tournament. But today there was no doubt. A 3-0 victory, so decisive. And for this young squad alongside this veteran in the mid lane, this is really such a huge achievement for these players.
It feels bad for Fresh, but I gotta speak out. This is the moment when we waiting for DK. And now they're here to mark their words, mark their team name in the history.
So what a perfect day for Smash. His birthday back in Korea, gets the win, puts DK back on the map for internationals, gets the MVP here. What an insane performance throughout the tournament, and also shutting down, going through some of the strongest bot lanes in the world, from BLG to Gen G. And now in the finals as well versus KC and Kalisha have been doing so well. They've taken down every single strong bot lane in the world.
Chiwoo, Lucid, Showmaker, Smash, and Career. D plus Kia will pick their keys at the totem.
And they have arrived. As they choose the 3 teams they are going to add to their trophy. Congratulations. Happy for you guys. Which 3 teams are you going to be adding to your trophy?
First team? Oh, yeah, first team.
First team?
To the guy in the suit.
All 3. Black one? It's gonna be all 3.
BLG. BLG.
BLG. And the next 2. And who will be the next 2?
Gen G.
And finally, your last.
마지막 팀을 골라주세요.
Carmine Core. KC! Now, why were those 3 specifically the ones you chose to select?
이 세 팀을 고르신 이유를 일단은 듣고 싶습니다.
저희가 토너먼트 8강전부터 만나왔던 팀들이었기 때문에 그래서 BLG, 젠지, KC 순으로 골랐습니다.
Yeah, those 3 were the opponents on the playoffs from the start. So yeah, we chose BLG, Gen G, and KC in a row.
Now the fans really showed up for you guys here. I know you were getting booed. There was a lot of KC fans. Your fans were almost as loud as they were. Little in numbers, loud in voice. How do you feel about that?
사실 정말 많은 KC 응원단 앞에서도 사실 기죽지 않고 정말 D+ 기아를 응원해주신 많은 팬분들이 파리의 현장에 계셨거든요. 그래서 그 부분이 좀 어떠셨는지 궁금합니다.
경기장 들어올 때부터 KC 팬분들께서 야유가 심하시더라고요. 근데 뭔가 그런 부분에서 저는 저 팬분들을 이제 DK 팬으로 만들 수 있다는 자신감이 있어가지고 그래가지고 좀 뭔가 마음이 계속 설레면서 게임했던 것 같아요.
You know, there are a lot of booings before the entrance. However, I just enjoyed it because it's so exciting to just feel that turning the KC crowd into us would be possible. And I was confident with it.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you guys. And with that being said, you can now place your trophy atop the totem.
이제 토템을 바로 새길 시간입니다. 바로 앞으로 가시죠.
It's been a long road here for Showmaker since the last time that he's lifted a major trophy. Time and time again, he's risen up alongside multiple different teammates and has fallen short. They've rebuilt with Lucid, with Career, with Smash, and with Chiwoo. They come in to EWC 2026 as major underdogs, even in the qualifiers. But the ingenuity through draft picks, through grit, through comebacks, and now through class has led them to this moment, to the totem of the Esports World Cup. In 2026, they etched their names in the echelons of history. D+ Kia, your 2026 EWC winners! immortalized in the totem. Their key put into the game trophy. As they lift it one more time, the winners of 2026 EWC League of Legends. It is D plus Kia.
I cannot think of a team who's had to overcome so many trials to get to this point. Moments like Korea, tears in his eyes when they went up against T1 in the LCK Cup, but managed to overcome that and fight back. And this is a team of fighters who've gotten to this point, who've gotten to the finals and won this trophy on the back of grit and determination.
This is probably the ending of D plus Kia. Like they were thinking about it at the beginning of the season, but maybe it's another start of D plus Kia rising up once again with Showmaker with this wrestler.
Redemption then for their perseverance, for bringing this squad together. Showmaker sighing a big sigh of relief when it ended. And also big props to Lucid for always being so confident in his picks of the team, to the pieces that they left behind, that D plus Kia made them leave behind.
Once again, your 2026 EWC League of Legends title winners, alongside their staff, say their name, and it will say on for history, it is D plus Kia.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible. We're there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.